Welcome into the high noon stream. Take that, Byron. It's high noon. We are here every Monday through Friday at high noon, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We give you everything that you need to know about your day. We give you your headlines, your trending topics, your hot topics, your current events, your pop culture, all the things that are trending, all the things that are making waves, things people are talking about. If it's happening on this particular day, I try and give it to you here in a nice little about 2-hour bite. See, that's what we do, but 2 hours here. But this isn't the only stream that we do every day. We also come back at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. we do something called Pillow Talk, and that's myself and James Parker. That's Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. That's more conversational. So 2 offerings, 2 streams every day. This one here, this is utilitarian. This is about getting you all briefed up and so that you know what's happening in the world. The one tonight, more entertainment-based, more conversational. Last night, Mondays are Kelly Moore Mondays. My former partner, Kelly, of the old Pugs and Kelly show. She joins us on Mondays. She was with us last night. So it's more conversational. It's more fun. This is fun. I'm not saying this isn't fun, but what I am saying about this is that this serves a purpose. This is me telling you what I am seeing happening in the world so that you can go out and feel at least slightly informed. Hi, Byron. Hi, Leslie. Happy Tuesday to you. Hi, Leslie. Hi, the other Leslie. We got one Leslie. We got 2 Leslies. We got an April. I'm not talking to April. April, you can just go ahead and be Kelly's friend. That's as far as I'm concerned. I don't need any of this nonsense. Last night, Kelly and I got into a bit of a fight over whose friend April was, and then April this morning decides that on Twitter and notifications, she's gonna start calling me the Whole Foods creeper, and I'm not I'm not. If you were listening to the show last night, a situation came up where I found myself in Whole Foods, and well, you know what? You can hear them all. Pugscast.com. That takes you directly to the YouTube page. You want to hear the whole conversation? I maintain that I am not a creeper, but I also maintain what constitutes a creep in 2022. Just an ugly guy showing interest in a girl that probably isn't going to be interested in him because, he's ugly. I don't understand the parameters. Good-looking men are never creeps. Good-looking men are always, they can be the most vulgar presence in the place, whether it's a bar, a park, a gym, whatever. It doesn't matter. Handsome men, never a creep. The women have all the power. That's what I'm saying. Women have all the power. Maybe it should be that way. I don't know. I'm just saying I am not a creep. I am not a creep. I am simply a heterosexual man, and I'm single. Oh, you know what? I don't even want to go into this. But you know what, April? Here's the bottom line. I wasn't following her. April, you were following her. I wasn't following her. Just go back and listen. She walked in before me. I had no choice. It would have been more weird if I had stopped and waited. I mean, that was like 20 yards behind her, following her. Okay. I did look for her, but I maintain that I looked for her in the store because she seemingly disappeared. And it was less about stalking and more about mysticism. I wanted to know where did she go? How did she walk in just 20 mere yards in front of me into this Whole Foods? And then she was gone. She just vanished. Is there an upstairs at Whole Foods? Is there a special place where women who drive $400,000 McLarens and walk around in yoga clothes at 3:00 in the afternoon? Is there a special place for them? Because if there is, I would like to see that special place. I wasn't stalking her. I wasn't following her. She walked into the Whole Foods and vanished. Just vanished. 20 yards. Okay, now granted, when I walked in, I took my eyes off her because my eyes weren't on her. My eyes were just in front of me looking at the stuff. She happened to have been in my field of view. And then when I walked in, they had some watermelons, right there where the doors go, and they got sometimes fruit and stuff. And I stopped to look at the watermelons. And then when I decided I wasn't going to pay like $12 for a seedless watermelon at Whole Foods, it was a stupid price. I don't even know why they were like showcasing them out there. It's, what are you trying to do here? So then when I looked away from the watermelons and I walked into the produce section, she was gone. I was like, where could she have gone? How did this happen? What did this? Yes, then I did walk up and down the aisles like I was looking for a lost 7-year-old. I did do that. But again, it was more about mysticism and her ability to vanish into thin air than it was about anything else. Okay, we're done. We're done with this nonsense. Just looking for melons, she says. I get it. You can't win. You can't win. Adam says, what's Adam saying here? Adam says, we were at Baby Doll, Silver City, and you were giving off creepy looks, and I even pointed it out to you. Nah, never been called a creep before. Not a creep. Have tons of female friends who tell me that I need to be more aggressive and that I need to be more. I am not a creep. Screw you, at creepy Adam. Why don't you just go sit in the corner and not say anything for 4 hours, creepy Adam? Actually, that's not true. Adam's not a guy who ever says nothing for 4 hours. Adam has things to say. All right, let's get into today's show. Let's stop delaying. These were conversations from last night's Pillow Talk show. I'm telling you, we're going to bring the creep conversation back. Maybe we'll bring the creep because I don't know. I've got thoughts. I've got the what. And by the way, Adam, you're not Brad Pitt either. You would be classified a creep by 99.9% of women just like me. So you should have some questions about the hypocrisy concerning who is a creep and who isn't a creep. Brad Pitt, never a creep. Never. Can do whatever he wants. He's completely welcome to be as weird, as creepy, as vulgar as guys like me. I got no leash on this. I happen to walk into a damn supermarket behind an attractive woman, and I notice that she's attractive, and suddenly call the police, put them in handcuffs. That ain't fair. It ain't fair, and I ain't talking about it anymore. Subject is over. With that said, this show does run on your gratuity, so if you would be interested in helping out the show with a tip, treat me like your bartender, treat me like your barista, whatever it is, pretend I'm parking your car. Drop a little something in the Venmo or the PayPal. We didn't make our budget last month. First month ever. I think it's summer. I think people are, a little bit tighter. I get that. Things are a little bit tighter around here as well. But if you want to play a little catch up and help out the show, we would be appreciative of any sort of donation that you make. Let's get into what today is. It's high noon on the 7th day of June, the 22nd. I almost said 22nd day. It is the 7th day of June in the 22nd year of this particular millennium. It's June 7th, the 158th day of the year. There are 207 days remaining until the end of the year. Let's check out what today is. First thing we do every day is we check in on the national calendar. Have I told you that I'm going through like some allergy things? And yesterday I was great because I took these allergy pills. I woke up early and I took some allergy pills like a few hours before the show. Today I didn't do that. Today I took the allergy pills 45 minutes before the show. And everything's starting to come out. So please bear with me. Today is World Caring Day. Says a lot about humanity that we have to have a specific day where we say, hey, just a reminder, care about other things. Specifically care about other people. Something we don't do. We care about ourselves. We care about the man in the mirror. It's National Chocolate Ice Cream Day. Let me tell you something about chocolate ice cream. You can walk into a Baskin-Robbins, 31 flavors. You can walk into any kind of ice cream place on the planet, and if they've got a million flavors, it doesn't matter. When you do an ice cream draft in that place, if you don't have chocolate in the top 5 of your ice cream draft, you don't know ice cream. Chocolate ice cream is the king of ice cream. It's the king of ice cream. What about vanilla? What about vanilla? Vanilla is good every once in a while when you want something just, bland. When you just want something that's, not inspiring. Then vanilla is fine. What do I have? Chocolate ice cream. Happy National Chocolate Ice Cream Day. So much you can do with chocolate ice cream. I told you when we did our ice cream draft. Did we do an ice cream draft? Not sure if we did an ice cream draft. I was talking about doing an ice cream draft. I'm not sure if we ever did it. I talked about how Rocky Road would be definitely a top 5er in my ice cream draft because I love Rocky Road. Who do you think's doing all the work in Rocky Road? chocolate ice cream. Chocolate ice cream is doing all the heavy lifting in Rocky Road. It's National Boone Day, Boone. Well, all right, so now this has piqued my interest. Let's see, what is Boone Day? Oh, National Boone Day, observed each year on June 7th, commemorates the day frontiersman Daniel Boone first began exploring the valleys and forests of present-day Bluegrass State, Kentucky on June 7th, 1769. Boone founded the village of Boonesboro, Kentucky, which is one of the first American settlements west of the Appalachians. All right, now he's not okay. So there's like these three dudes, and like, well, one of them I know what they do because they were kind enough to put it in his name. So there's Daniel Boone, Davy Crockett, and Johnny Appleseed. Like, they're like essentially the same dude to me, except again, Johnny Appleseed. I know what he did. He did the apple planting because his name is Appleseed. But I make very little distinction between Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett. I don't know. What they were both frontiersmen, right? I don't know why one better than the other. Which one was at the Alamo? Was that Crockett? I don't know. Was that Boone? I don't know. It's National Oklahoma Day. I guess they got to have a day. I guess they got to have a day, right? If you got to, everybody gets a day. All states, all 50 of them. Did you see what I did there? I had to think about how many states there were. The world is changing, man. The world is changing. I don't know if you told me that, there's a 51st state. We added a new state 3 months ago. I'd go, oh yeah, you know what? That's probably something I forgot. That's probably 50. There are 50 states, and today is National Oklahoma Day. America's ashtray. That state is awful. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of you here in North Texas who have very fond feelings towards Oklahoma. Some of you have very bad feelings towards Oklahoma. Those are the ones I'm going to sit with. Oklahoma is gross, man. It is gross. What are you talking about? It's an ashtray. Shut up. It's an ashtray. I know that there are parts that are close to Texas that are green and lush and pretty, but the majority of that state is just like a barren wasteland ashtray. You ever driven through? Yeah, of course you ever driven through that. Have you ever driven through state Oklahoma? Yeah, of course you have. You've driven through the state of Oklahoma. If you live here in Texas, it's kind of unavoidable. So you want to go north, there it is. It's awful. It's awful. It's National VCR Day. We'll check in more on that later. It's there you go. That's a foreshadowing right there for you. Let's talk about what's happening on this day in history, June the 7th. On this day in 1906, the Cunard Line, the RMS Lusitania, is launched from the John Brown shipyard in Glasgow, Scotland. The Lusitania, I'm sure maybe you've heard of it. Oh, I've heard of the Lusitania. It gets overshadowed by the Titanic. The Lusitania was the biggest ship in the world at the time that it was launched, which is why it's still mentioned in history. And, everybody died on the Lusitania as well, just like the Titanic. Although slightly different circumstances. The Titanic hit an iceberg. And the Lusitania was hit by German U-boats in World War I. Relative casualty rates on both. I want to say like 1,500 died in the Titanic, like 1,200 died in the Lusitania. I don't know, but for some reason, where's the Lusitania movie? Doomed Voyage. Ed says, one of Lusitania's propellers are in the garden area of the Hilton Anatole, believe it or not. Oh yeah? Here in Dallas? All right, that's cool. That's good to know. 1946, the United Kingdom's BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, returned to broadcasting its television service, which had been off the air for 7 years because of World War II. So there was no TV. First of all, 1946, 7 years, that's 1939. There was TV in 1939. When I think of TV, I think of the 50s, but I guess it was around for a while. Kind of like how the internet was around for a while in the 90s, but nobody knew about it. Ed did. Ed's in the chat room. Ed knew about the internet in 1992. Nobody else did. Nobody else did till around 96, 97, something like that. On this day in 1965, the Supreme Court of the United States hands down its decision in Griswold versus Connecticut. Griswold, you know what Griswold versus Connecticut was? It made it legal for families to travel cross country in a family truckster. No, of course, that's the plot of Vacation, the Griswold family. Griswold versus Connecticut prohibited states from criminalizing the use of contraception by married couples. legal baby steps made so on this day it became legal for you to wear a rubber in with your wife though still illegal. Well, states could make it illegal for like single people to use contraception, which is so, oh my god, people that we are at the apex of humanity in 2022. No, we're not. We have so much further to evolve. Look at this. People in 1965, they thought they were at the apex of human growth. They thought they were like and they were. They were. I mean, I guess any incantation of the modern human is its apex. But think about that. In 1965, it was like, all right, married couples can have sex and they can use contraception. But single people who we don't want babies out of wedlock, single people can't use contraception. What is the rationale there? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's the same thing that's held back progress for thousands of years. Probably religion. Probably, people going, man in the sky don't like it. And then the rest of us going, wait. We don't all believe in a man in the sky who's judging us on everything that we do. But he does. Okay, fine. I guess that's going to be the law of the land then. That was on this day in 1965. On this day in 1975, we touched on this in the calendar. On this day in 1975, Sony launches the Betamax, the first video cassette recorder format. So it's VHS day. They call it VHS Day according to the national calendar. Although on this day in 75, it was Sony who launched the Betamax. Now, there was a big war. Some of you chillins out there, you may not remember, but there was the format war, it was called. I watched a documentary on this like 15 years ago. It was really interesting. It was about how VHS, which was made by JVC, and Betamax, which was made by Sony, essentially created formats for the VCR at the same time. Like this was 75. Nobody had a VCR. And if they had a VCR, it was the size of a refrigerator. They were gigantic. They were like big and they were clunky. The Betamax, the Sony Betamax was the superior format at the time. It was in radio throughout the early 2000s, I would say, radio stations were probably the sole utilizer of Betamax technology because radio stations would record all of their radio shows in home. They're not in home, not in like the home, but in the studio. All recordings of broadcasts were done on Betamax because the sound quality was better than on VHS. But VHS ultimately won the format war. And you know why? You know what? I mean, this isn't the sole contributor as to why VHS won the format war, but it's the big reason why it became more popular than Betamax. Because Betamax wouldn't allow their technology to be used by porn companies. VHS went to the porn companies and they went, why don't you put all your dirty movies on VHS? And then people started renting porno, and then suddenly everybody had a VHS player, and that's how essentially VHS defeated Betamax in the format wars. Porn did it. Let's see here. In 1982, on this day in 1982, Priscilla Presley opens the Graceland gates to the public for the very first time. Graceland became the number one tourist attraction in the States. The bathroom where Elvis Presley died 5 years earlier is kept off limits. So on this day in 1982, Graceland was open to the public for the very first time. And I'm banned for life. That's right. All right, let's see here. Let's go. Byron says, I've driven back from a number of trips to Black Hawk, Colorado, and never been stopped. Always had purchased a ton of stuff. White privilege. Ed knows. Yeah, no. Adam, I don't know what you're talking about. Betamax held a whole movie. What are you talking about? I don't know. It's porn. Ed knows. It was porn. Porn is the reason that VHS defeated Betamax, at least in the United States, because VHS, the JVC company, went to porn companies and said, all right, we need an edge. We need something that people are going to want. Sex sells, baby. So they went and they put all the porn movies on VHS, and that's why VHS eventually won. What else do we have? John knows that. Look, John, but all the porn was on VHS pretty much. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay, that's all. We don't have to talk about any more of those. I wish I could remember what the name of the documentary was because it was really interesting, and it even they even dealt in this documentary with Philips, the Philips company, who tried to upend the whole VHS Betamax argument with their laser disc, which they come off looking kind of foolish in the. That was more of a put the needle on the record kind of deal. You know, the laser disc was more the quality of the laser disc, which remained for a couple of years with cinephiles and people who really liked quality, because I guess the laser disc was the highest of the quality. But that was, I mean, I knew a couple of people with laser discs, but it was like, hey, you want to come over and watch Rosemary's Baby on lasers? No, not really. But it's so great. Now, I've seen it on TV a couple of times. It's pretty good on TV. I don't need it just a little bit better. Listen to the How Stuff Works podcast about the VHS Betamax format wars. Oh, Adam listened to a podcast, so now he's an expert on it. Okay, very good. I'm just going off the shit I'm reading here and some. I don't know, Adam. I'm a little bit older than you. Living through it, just and having worked extensively with Betamax in radio in the 90s. But what do I know? What do I know? Just life experience. But he listened to a podcast, so he's got, he's got the edge on all of us. He listens to podcasts. Why am I being so mean to Adam today? I don't mean to be mean to. I do mean to be mean to Adam, because Adam means to be mean to me. And I don't know. It's like an abusive relationship. We're not going to get a divorce. We're just going to stay in this loveless marriage for, till death do us part. Births. People celebrating birthdays today. On this day in 1917, Dean Martin was born, the king of cool. See that documentary? I had a problem with that documentary. I enjoyed the documentary. I love all the Rat Pack stuff. I'm a bit of an amateur Rat Pack historian. I love that stuff. I had a problem with the documentary because the name King of Cool. Dean Martin was not the King of Cool. Everybody knows the King of Cool is Steve McQueen. Shut up. I'm not going to argue with you about it. Steve McQueen was infinitely cooler than Dean Martin. Maybe for different generations, I'll give you that. Maybe there's like an older generation that thought that Dean Martin was good. No, but no, Steve McQueen was the cool one. But if you have time, go investigate the Dean Martin documentary, King of Cool. It's excellent. It is very good. It's very interesting. Born on this day in 1940, Tom Jones, Welsh singer, songwriter, actor. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa. Tom Jones. I met Tom Jones once in the late 90s. We did a station concert. So here's the story. So we were a talk station on the FM. We were like the most powerful station in town. We were like the big badass station in town. And we decided that we wanted to do a summer rock concert that we wanted to do because we knew that we could draw like 100,000 people to Grant Park. We knew that we had the power to do that. So we tried to do a rock concert, but I want to say this was in the early days of alternative rock, and all the bands that we wanted, we were told no by the record companies, that we couldn't get these bands for, even though we were going to draw a massive crowd. We were told no by the record companies because we didn't play music and we were so powerful. We were like, screw you. We don't need you. We'll do a concert with just our own talent. They all have bands, so we'll just put them in. We'll draw more than you will for your 7 Mary 3 show or whatever the hell you wanted. Whatever, I don't even know who we wanted. But as a goof, they were going through like the list of people that were available, like people that you could book. And Tom Jones came up and they went, oh, that'd be hysterical. Tom Jones is so cheesy. We should do a summer rock concert starring Tom Jones. And we did it. We did it because the station could do anything at that point. They could literally do anything. And we hyped it for a month and all that stuff. And sure enough, drew like 100,000 people to Grant Park on a hot Saturday in the middle of July. And it was awesome. Tom Jones was awesome. Tom Jones was fun. He was funny. He did all the shows. He was just such a gracious and such a fun guy. And that one of my best memories of my early radio days as a producer was that Tom Jones concert because people were like, Tom Jones? You mean the What's New Pussycat guy? Oh, and this was just at the time where I think he had covered Prince's Kiss, so he was having a bit of a moment, a bit of a career revival. Remember when Tom Jones did the Prince song, Kiss? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, he was fun. What's New Pussycat? I had that song stuck in my head for like a good 6 months. On this day in 1947, Thurman Munson, American baseball player. He died in 1979. One of the first, not on this day, but he died in 1979. He was one of the first, I played catcher in Little League Baseball. My grandpa was a Yankee fan, so I was very familiar with the Yankees. And at that time, Thurman Munson was, in my opinion, the best catcher in all of baseball. He was the captain of the Yankees. The Yankees were good back then, the Billy Martin, Reggie Jackson era. And he just, on an off day, he went for a flight. He was a private pilot. Another one of these private pilots, man. Went for a flight, plane crashed. Thurman Munson died in 1979. How old was he? 32 years old. Thurman Munson died. Born on this day in 1947. Born on this day in 1952, Liam Neeson, Irish-American actor. Liam Neeson draft. Okay, we'll do a Liam Neeson draft. Michael Collins in the first round. That concludes the Liam Neeson draft. Michael Collins, one of my favorite movies of all time. Liam Neeson plays the legendary, historic, controversial, but provocateur of the Irish Revolution, Michael Collins. Kind of like the George Washington of... yeah, because if Eamon de Valera is more like the Thomas Jefferson of Irish, independence, and Michael Collins would be like the George Washington, Michael Collins. Liam Neeson, born on this day in 1952, played Michael Collins in a movie. So good. Born on this day in 1958, speaking of Tom Jones covering Kiss, Prince. Prince was born on this day. American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, producer, and actor. He died. Can you believe that Prince died 6 years ago? It doesn't seem, oh my God, Prince has been dead for 6 years. Proud to say that my son, who loves hip hop, he loves The Weeknd. He's a big fan of The Weeknd. And I have, over the last couple of years, sort of ingrained an appreciation for Prince into my 13-year-old son. And he's like, Prince was like The Weeknd before The Weeknd. I'm like, slow your roll. The Weeknd ain't Prince yet, okay? The Weeknd is popular. The Weeknd has a bunch of hits. The Weeknd is pretty good, and things are looking really promising for The Weeknd moving forward in his career. But The Weeknd is not Prince yet. I probably shouldn't go there with my 13-year-old son because I just consider it a victory that he thinks Prince is awesome. One of the things that my son finds really funny about Prince is that, why is he so horny? I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like, Dad, you ever notice that every one of Prince's songs is about him trying to get with a girl? I go, yeah, they are. They're all like that. My kid's favorite Prince song, Erotic City. He loves it. He loves that song. He's like, listen to that bass line. I go, yeah, I know. That's a very cool song. No, but not even lyrically, Dad. Just listen to the music, man. Dad, how come that's never been sampled? How come nobody's ever done like a hip hop song with that beat? That groove is so strong. I don't know. Probably the Prince Trust. They probably don't allow people to use Prince songs for hip hop stuff. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever heard a hip hop song that uses just so overtly a Prince song, but Erotic City would be a good one. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1959, Mike Pence, 48th President of the United States, 50th Governor of the state of Indiana. Mike Pence, a guy who looks much older than someone born in 1959. Mike Prince, Blackwater, right? No, Michael Prince is the Eric Prince, Blackwater. Michael Prince is the character from Billions. Anyway, Mike Pence, Vice President of the United States, born on this day in 1959. Born on this day in 1965, one of my absolute favorite guests, one of my absolute favorite people that I've ever gotten to spend a little bit of time with. Actually, more than a little bit of time. This guy has done my show probably 10 times. Mick Foley. Legendary, iconic WWE wrestler. I don't even know anything about wrestling, but I know that I love Mick Foley. What a nice man. Just what a brilliant man. I mean, you look at all the characters, all of the different. The dude has been a famous wrestler with like 3 or 4 different characters. That's how important he is to the WWE. Now, of course, people know that Mick Foley is the guy behind all these characters, but Mick Foley plays these over Mankind. Was he Mankind? I don't. Yeah, who was Mick Foley? I don't know. I don't know wrestling. I just know. Hold on. Let's see. What characters has Mick Foley made millions off of in the WWE? Does it say? Ring names. He's been Cactus Jack. He's been Dude Love. He's been Cactus Jack Manson. He's been Jack Foley, and most famously Mankind. And then he has also wrestled as just Mick Foley. Mick Foley is so smart. He's so conversational. He's so thoughtful. He is just, and children's book author. He's like made millions off of these children's books that are so wonderful. They're just so, I love you, Mick Foley, my favorite wrestler of all time, and it's not even close. Mick Foley, born on this day in 1965. Happy birthday to Mankind. And we're going to follow this up. Born on this day in 1967. One of the worst guests I've ever had on radio. Someone who we actually hung up on. And I believe I called him a dick on the air. I said, yeah, you're a dick. And we hung up on him. Dave Navarro, well, Red Hot Chili Peppers. But before that, I mean, most famous Jane's Addiction, right? I think that's where he's from. Dave Navarro was a jerk. Dave Navarro was an idiot. He came on our show. He was doing a DJ spinning thing in town. And we're like, oh, cool. Yeah, we'll talk to Dave Navarro. That could be fun. Wasn't fun. Dave Navarro, Chrissy Hind, and Tanya Harding are there in the list of the worst guests that we've ever had. The 3 people that have either stormed out of our studio or we have ended the interview by just hanging up on him and calling him a dick. Dave Navarro is probably... Tanya Harding comes in third in the list because Tanya Harding, we sort of did that to her on purpose. We drove her to storm out of the studio and throw her headphones across the board at me. Or not Kelly. I think she threw them at Kelly. Chrissy Hind was just difficult. She was just such a bitch. She's like, oh, really? So that's what you want to ask about? She had put out a book about veganism. And so my partner Kelly asked her about the veganism book, and she got all like, yeah, well, I don't eat animals. Oh, is there something that preceded this? Have you always been a vegan? Why are you asking me about this? Because you wrote a book about it, Chrissy. My partner yelled at her, and it was like, you're a bitch. And we hung up on her. We got the Pretenders. I don't even like the Pretenders. Although I have to be honest with you. There is a new Hulu miniseries out called Pistols, right? I don't know if you've seen this. I highly recommend it. It is so good. It is a 6-part miniseries. It's dramatic. It's actors playing these people, but it is the story of the Sex Pistols. And it covers from their formation to their work with Malcolm McLaren to all of their controversies, and it ends with the Nancy Spungen death, the Sid and Nancy situation. It is very good. Pistols on Hulu, very good, very interesting. If you're at all intrigued by all the machinations and bullshit that went into making the Sex Pistols the global phenomena that they were for about 18 months, they were so big for about 18 months, and then they went away. It's very good. However, my big problem with Pistols, the miniseries, is that Chrissy Hind of the Pretenders, who I always knew. I mean, if we had talked to Chrissy Hind longer and not hung up on her, I would have asked her about the Sex Pistols, because Chrissy Hind was a very big part of the whole Sex Pistols thing. She worked for Malcolm McLaren. She was at one point going to be in the Sex Pistols, but they didn't want her in the band because, as Malcolm McLaren said, you're too good. These guys are terrible and you're too good. So we want to do something else with you. And then they kind of created the Pretenders. But Chrissy Hind, who is probably the third lead in the Pistols miniseries on Hulu, Chrissy Hind comes off in this Pistols miniseries so likable, so nice, so kind. She's the girl that had the glass ceiling that they wouldn't give a chance to, who was better than all of them. And that's just bullshit. Chrissy Hind is a bitch. but it's Dave Navarro's birthday. So happy birthday, Dave Navarro. You suck as a guest, and I'm glad I hung up on you. Bear Grylls, born on this day in 1974. Know the name? He's like, what? Doesn't he go out and eat like roots and deer vomit and stuff? Isn't that what he is? Isn't he one of these nature? Well, let's see what he says. English adventurer, author, and television host. All right. Happy birthday, born on this day in 1975, Allen Iverson. Practice. Y'all talking about practice? Allen Iverson, one of the great players of his era. Unfortunately, he played in an era of a lot of great players, so sometimes he's forgotten. But do not be sleeping on Allen Iverson in the 90s. Woo, was he a baller. I got more Allen Iverson takes, but Bill Hader, born on this day in 1978. Bill Hader, American actor, comedian, and screenwriter. Oh God, do I love Bill Hader. I am such a stan of Bill Hader. I wouldn't know where to begin. I wouldn't know how to rate the greatest things Bill Hader has done. His work on Saturday Night Live is top 5. If I made my list of the greatest Saturday Night Live performers of all time, Bill Hader would be in my top 5. For Stefan alone, the character of Stefan is a top 3 favorite SNL character of all time. Stefan and Drunk Uncle. They're definitely in my top 3 favorite SNL characters of all time. Stefan, then Barry. Did you watch Barry on HBO? Oh, Barry is so good. I can't wait for the season to end. Did the season end? I don't know. It might have. I'm waiting. So I can binge this entire season. I watched the first 3 episodes and I went, all right, I need this to be like 5 episodes that I can just rip through, because I can't handle watching Barry for a half hour every week and then waiting another week for another half hour. That is not the way to do it. Barry, fantastic. But he also did a series on FX with Fred Armisen called Documentary Now, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen on television. I believe Documentary Now is also on Hulu. It is a show that is a parody of documentaries. It takes famous documentaries from history, and then Bill Hader and Fred Armisen do like a parody of that documentary. Like whether it's Roger and Me or I don't know. They do. It's just so funny. It's just Documentary Now is so incredibly funny. Happy birthday, Bill Hader. You are a genius. You are an absolute genius. Born on this day in 1981. The tennis hottie. Remember Anna Kournikova, Russian tennis player, born on this day in 1981. I bet she's still beautiful. She was always beautiful. She wasn't much of a tennis player. She was very controversial because she was like the most famous female tennis player in the world, but she had never won anything. It was like she was not like winning tournaments or anything like that. Yet she was on the cover of all the tennis magazines, and she was always the one that people wanted to interview. Well, it's because she was beautiful. Anna Kournikova, Russian tennis player, born on this day in 1981. Born on this day in 1988, Michael Cera, Canadian actor and musician. Michael Cera's a musician? I didn't know that. Michael Cera, what movie was he in? What was that movie he did with Jonah Hill? With McLovin. We all remember McLovin. I don't know. You remember that movie. That one, I forget what it's called. It's a good movie, though. A very good movie. And, of course, George Michael. He played George Michael on Arrested Development. Michael Cera. I like Michael Cera. Iggy Azalea. Sound it out. Iggy Azalea. Australian rapper, singer, songwriter, and model, born on this day in 1990. Born on this day in 1991, Fetty Wap. No idea who Fetty Wap is. He only gets a mention here because my 13-year-old son likes Fetty Wap. I don't know. Don't even know. Is it a guy or a girl? Fetty Wap. I think it's a guy, right? American rapper, singer, and songwriter. And born on this day, fabulous babe of the day. Oh, you don't want to say that. You're already in the creeper jail. They already think you're a creeper. I don't care. Emily Ratajkowski is born on this day in 1991. She is easily one of the most beautiful women on the planet. And also born on this day in 1996. Oh, look at this, 1996. So he's 24, 25, 20. He's 20. 96. So 24, 25. He's only 27 years old. That's it. Or 26 years old. I'm not sure. Christian McCaffrey. A white running back. Yeah, proving that white guys still can run the ball in the NFL. There are There have been a few white running backs. I don't know enough to do a draft. Do a draft. I'm not gonna do a white running back draft. You scared? It's not that I'm scared. It's just it seems like needlessly provide. Do a white running back draft. White running back draft. All right, the best white NFL running backs of all time ranked by me with the first pick in the white running back draft. Pugs and Company's High Noon Show selects from the Chicago Bears. Red Grange. Red Grange. Red Grange. Played in the 1920s. Red Grange is the reason the NFL is a thing. What? What are you talking about? Never heard of him. Yeah, well, do a little history. The NFL didn't exist. The NFL was like this little stupid regional thing that George Hallis and some other dudes in Ohio came together and said, hey, what if we played a series of games against each other in our different cities? And it wasn't popular at all. As a matter of fact, NFL professional football was considered like loser stuff. It was like, nobody cares about that. The only sport we care about in America is college football, which was massive, and Major League Baseball. What, you're going to compete with a league that's supposed to go up against the Babe? Well, yeah, and they did, and that's what they tried to do. And George Hallis of the Chicago Bears, the Heisman Trophy winner, the greatest player in college football up to that time, was a guy by the name of Red Grange. And Red Grange wasn't going to play pro football. Red Grange was like, I'm not going to play pro football. I'm going to go to Hollywood and be a movie actor. I'm one of the most famous 19-year-olds in the world right now because of my prowess on the college football field. I'm not going to go play pro football. And George Hallis got some money from some investors, and he said, Red Grange, come legitimize the NFL. Come play NFL football. So every time that the Chicago Bears would play a game in a different city, they sold out the stadiums. It was the birth of the NFL. Why did they sell out the stadiums? Because everybody came to see Red Grange, who was known from coast to coast as like the greatest running back in college football history. So there you go. Number one in the draft, Red Grange. Number two, Larry Zonka, white running back draft. Larry Zonka. I don't know much about Larry Zonka. He played on the Dolphins in a time when I was too little to even know what football was, but I've seen the highlights. Larry Zonka, number two greatest white running back of all time. Number three greatest white running back of all time. This one's hard for me to say because he played for the Green Bay Packers. Paul Hornung. Paul Hornung, the third greatest white NFL running back of all time. Red Grange, Larry Zonka, Paul Hornung. The fourth greatest white running back of all time. I remember this guy. This guy was awesome. And I think it's been revealed that he was like drunk most of his games. Like he was just John Riggins. John Riggins of the Washington Redskins of the 1980s. John Riggins. And the fifth best white running back of all time, who I'm not even sure was white. I don't know. I said to myself when I was making this list, I said, wait, is he white? And then I looked at some pictures and I was like, first of all, they're black and white because this is from the 60s again. I'm like, is he white? Is he, I mean, I'm sure they told people he was white because it was like, the NFL. All right. Fifth best white running back of all time, Jim Taylor. Jim Taylor also, he may not even be white. I don't know. That's how few white running backs there are in the history of the NFL that could make my list. Red Grange, number one. Larry Zonka, number two. Paul Hornung, number three. John Riggins, number four. Jim Taylor, number five. Happy birthday, Christian McCaffrey. You may be on the list someday, but honestly, you're still playing, so I'm not going to put you on a list of the all-time greats. Dead on this day. Just one death on this day. Christopher Lee. Spooky Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee, we talked about him the other day. I think it was the anniversary of Vincent Price's death. I said Christopher Lee. Oh, no, it was Vincent Price's birthday, right? And Vincent Price and Christopher Lee were born on the same day, maybe. I don't know. Oh, God, it's a whole week ago. I don't remember exactly. Whatever it was, somehow last week, Vincent Price was trending, but also Christopher Lee was for some reason, and I remember. Christopher Lee died on this day in 2015. Tall, skinny, creepy. Was he in Star Wars? Was Christopher Lee a Star Wars character? A guy in Star Wars? Like the original Star Wars. Like the ones that were made in the 70s. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. Adam because Adam has zero perspective with history is proclaiming Christian McCaffrey is the best white running back of all time. It might be, but again, I don't put them in these lists because if you're still currently playing, you have more to achieve, and you are not a finished product. Adam also says, did he play Count Dooku in the reboot? I don't know, maybe, but I thought he was Christopher Lee. I thought he was also in the original 3. I don't know. We said, you said talented. Okay, you said talented. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Larry Zonko was all that talented. I just know it didn't seem like people could tackle him. At least not in 1972. It's either Zonko or Mercury Morris. I'm telling you. Mercury Morris was more of a scat back with speed, and then Larry Zonko was just, I'm going to run it right down your throat, and you're not going to be able to tackle me, and I'm going to gain 7 yards every time I touch the ball. That was Larry Zonko. Different kind of running back than we have today. I could talk running backs forever because, my favorite football player of all time is a running back. And I grew up in an era where the running back was the most important position on the field. I grew up in the era of Tony Dorsett, Earl Campbell, Billy Sims, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders. I grew up in that era of football, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed thoroughly. But now we have a more vertical game, which is fine. But the running back is like totally non-important now. The running back position has become the Bic lighter position of the NFL. It's like you sign them as a rookie, they start right away, you run them into the ground, and then by year 3, when you have to pay them their non-rookie contract, it's like, yeah, we're done with you. You can go somewhere else. Very rare is it that a running back has a long career now with the same team. I don't know who the last would be to meet that criteria. But even look here in Dallas, talking about getting rid of Zeke, talking about it's time for Zeke to move on. And maybe it is because they've run him into the ground. They've who was the guy? There was a guy just a couple of years ago, and I can't remember his name, Cousin Mold, who was like the Rams running back. He was amazing. He was amazing. And then, they ran him into the ground. He got hurt. And then, nope, we're done with you. And then, we haven't heard of him since, although I think he went to Atlanta, and I don't remember his name. Anyway, let's see here. Let's get into what's trending today. What are the things that people are talking about? Okay, so this is kind of a big one. This is it's trending. It's trending on all platforms. Not high up at the top, but I have certain criteria that I consider whether or not something's important, and that is how many platforms is it trending on simultaneously. And this is a big one. Cancer breakthrough. There has been a unprecedented, as doctors are calling it, breakthrough in cancer. New York City cancer trial, trial, like medical trials now, like a legal trial. New York City cancer trial delivers unheard of results, complete remission for everyone. Patients with a particular kind of cancer and a particular kind of mutation received a new therapy called dostarlimab and had results not seen in cancer trials ever before. A small New York City-led cancer trial has achieved a result reportedly never before seen: the total remission of cancer in all of its patients. To be sure, the trial, led by doctors at Memorial Sloan Kettering. Sloan Kettering, this is good too, because Sloan Kettering in New York City is considered to be the greatest cancer hospital in the world. When billionaires, when they get cancer, they go to Sloan Kettering. It's where Junior went. Remember? Oh, no. Junior, wait, I'm talking about The Sopranos. Junior wanted to go to Sloan Kettering, but instead he wanted Dr. Kennedy, who was at Sloan Kettering. I don't know, whatever. I'm old. My Sopranos now. I got to rewatch The Sopranos. I'm going to wait like a year or so to rewatch The Sopranos because I'm going to wait for my 13-year-old kid to be interested in it. Right now, he's kind of interested in it, but not enough to like binge an entire series run. To be sure, the trial, led by doctors at Sloan Kettering and backed by drug maker GlaxoSmithKline, has only completed treatments of 12 patients with a specific cancer in its early stages and with a rare mutation as well of that cancer. But the results, reported Sunday in the New England Journal of Medicine and the New York Times, were still striking enough to prompt multiple physicians to tell the paper they were believed to be unprecedented results. One cancer specialist told the Times it was an unheard of result. According to the New England Journal of Medicine and the Times, all 12 patients had rectal cancer that had not spread beyond the local area, and their tumors all exhibited a specific mutation affecting the ability of cells to repair damage to DNA. After being treated with the drug dostarlimab, all 12 are now in complete remission with no surgery or chemotherapy and no severe side effects, and no trace of cancer whatsoever anywhere in their bodies. Doctors quoted by the Times said that while the results were promising, they would need to be replicated and expanded upon. Nor was it clear if the medication in question would be useful beyond this specific application. But still, holy cow, we got a major breakthrough in cancer treatments. So cancer affects us all. Cancer is that sword of Damocles that hangs over all of our heads at every moment. Cancer don't give a shit if you're 6 months old or 106 years old. Cancer is out there. Cancer is looming. Cancer is looking for us all. Knock wood, you can escape it forever. I once heard a doctor say that cancer is a natural mutation of the human cell, and that if you live to be 150 years old, you wouldn't, because cancer would eventually get you. Cancer will eventually occur in everybody. It just depends on when. Maybe you live to be 200 years old, and on your 201st birthday, they find out, oh, yep, finally happened. Now you've got cancer. So cancer is out there waiting for us all. It is a naturally occurring phenomenon within the human cellular system. They start to break down, they create this cancer. Some people get it at 30. Some people get it at 10. Some people get it at 90. It doesn't matter. Again, we die of other causes before reaching 110. But if we didn't have those other causes, cancer would eventually find its way to your doorstep. So if you cure cancer, if we actually come up with a way to cure cancer, what does that mean for humanity in general? What does that mean for, when we know what it would mean for birth rate or for death rates? We know that it would save a lot of people, which means there would be the world would change so drastically. The world would, 50 years after they cure cancer, the world would be filled with elderly people. We would be such an old population. Like the majority of people on the planet would be old because they're just not dying. They're sticking around. So that's interesting. That is interesting. And what does it say about, birth rates too? I mean, if people could suddenly live on average to be like 110 or whatever it was, until they got hit by a truck or until their heart exploded or until an aneurysm got them, because we are a very complicated chemistry experiment, the human body. Any number of things could go wrong over the course of time. But if we eliminated cancer from that, what would the world's population be? Like how many? And nobody wants grandma to die from cancer. Nobody wants mom, brother, sister, baby, whatever. Cancer is a terrible thing. And as I say, it touches all of us. But there are some real existential implications to be considered here if we were to cure cancer. And I am totally for trying to cure cancer. Don't get this wrong. I'm just thinking out loud here about, what if cancer was cured? What if nobody ever again died of cancer? How many people how would that affect the world moving forward? All right, never mind. And I haven't done weed in like over a year. So I'm still having these thoughts. These are also trending right now. DHS / trending with national security. Yeah. So we've got a thing. We've got an alert. Now I don't know why this is, maybe it's because, there's been a number of shootings, and there are talks about gun control, universal background checks, red flag laws, age for purchase. All of those sort of issues are on the table now. And although it would be optimistic and maybe a bit naive to say that progress is being made, but at least, people from divergent parties and viewpoints are seemingly talking about this now. But above and beyond that, according to ABC News, the Department of Homeland Security has issued a heightened threat alert to law enforcement officials, warning of possible domestic terror attacks likely to be perpetrated by extremists inspired by the recent Uvalde and Oklahoma shootings. ABC reports that the DHS fired off a National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin on Tuesday morning, which is related to the elementary school shooting that claimed the lives of 19 students and 2 teachers, and specifically used the term domestic violent extremists. Noting the Texas mass shooting, the bulletin states, others have seized on this event to attempt to spread disinformation and incite grievances, including claims it was a government-staged event meant to advance gun control measures. ABC's Luke Barr added that this is the 6th such warning since the Biden administration following the January 6, 2021 assault by supporters of Donald Trump on the nation's capital trying to stop the certification of the 2020 election. According to Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, as recent acts of violence in communities across the country have so tragically demonstrated, the nation remains in a heightened threat environment, and we expect that environment will become more dynamic in the coming months. Have a nice summer, everybody. Have a nice summer. Enjoy that 4th of July picnic in the town square. Sure, nothing's going to happen to you. All right. Speaking of gun reform is also trending. Our senator here, dude lives right down the block, I believe. I think he lives in this area. I don't know. He keeps his address secret for obvious reasons. Senator John Cornyn of Texas said Monday he's optimistic there will be 60-plus votes on gun control legislation. A bipartisan group of senators have been negotiating. That would be enough to overcome a filibuster and send a bill to the floor. The Texas Republican is part of a group trying to craft a measure in the wake of the deadly shootings last month in Buffalo, New York, and Uvalde, Texas. President Biden last week called on the Senate to move forward, saying this time we have to take the time to do something. President Biden and his fellow Democrats have called for bans on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, as well as red flag and safe storage laws and strengthening of background checks. At the very least, Mr. Biden has called for a minimum age to buy an assault weapon to be raised to 21 from 18. That's I don't get that. Come on. We're talking about common sense. We're talking about common sense, right? So why do you have to be 21? It's fine to be 21 to buy a pistol. That's isn't that the rule? You want to buy a pistol, you got to be 21 in Texas, but 18 to buy an AR-15? What? That makes no sense. No, reasonable people can go, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So whatever. We'll see where this goes. I am not holding my breath. Because unfortunately, I am of the opinion that for a lot of people, well, we talked yesterday about the 44%. 44% of Republicans polled said, yeah, these shootings are just going to happen. We're just going to have to live with it. 44% of Republicans. 73% of Americans, regardless of their political party, 73% of Americans say, we got to do something about this. But when you break that down into just Republicans, 44% of Republicans are about, yeah, you know what, it doesn't. And I think that that's indicative of a type of worldview and, to be honest, a malady that some of us have. I have noticed over the past few years that there are more and more of us who just do not give a shit about anybody or anything that does not immediately affect them. And you can be callous about it and you can say that, it's let's simplify it. Well, my kid wasn't shot dead in the classroom, so I don't care. Right? It's like, my kid, it's like you're watching this happen on television and you're processing it in your little rooster brain like this is a television show. Like it's not real. Those dead kids, it's not real to me because my kid's in the other room. Shut up! I'm trying to watch Tucker. Those 44%. There is a group of people who just and this is gonna be controversial, but I believe I think they're on the spectrum. I think there are way more of us that are on the spectrum walking around bumping into things. And why do I think that? Because a lack of empathy or an ability to be thoughtfully concerned about the welfare of others seems to be something that is on the autism spectrum. It seems to be one of the things that is difficult for people who are on the spectrum to do. And we all know a bunch of people who are just sort of on the spectrum. They're fully functioning. They're decent people. They're our friends. Hell, they might be our girlfriends and our husbands. But I really do think that that is part of it. I think that a lack of empathy for others, a lack of caring about anything that hasn't affected you personally is, I think an indication that you might be on the spectrum. So that's the 44%. And it's not like, oh, you're just going after Republicans. No, I'm not. I'm going after that 44% of people out there who, because of the way they see it, they happen to be Republican. They just happen to be Republicans because they are finding that other people who share that sort of myopic view, that internalized view of what is important, it's a man in the mirror syndrome. It's like, the only thing I care about is that guy in the mirror there. I can't look past the guy in the mirror there because it's survival of the fittest here. And I've got to keep whatever. We are a society, a civilized society. It is incumbent upon each and every one of us to have at least some care for strangers, to see something terrible happen to us. It's like when you see like an old woman walking on ice and she slips and falls and you're there with your buddy and you're like, oh my God. And then your buddy's like, that's right. That's like a totally different, there's a whole different kind of thing going on there. The person who sees the old woman slip and fall on the ice and thinks it's hysterical is lacking something that the person who instantly shows concern has. And it's just humans, man. We come in all shapes and sizes. Boris Johnson is trending. Boris Johnson, he is the Prime Minister of the UK. He of the crazy hair. He survived his no confidence vote yesterday in the UK Parliament. They tried to get rid of him. They tried to say, yeah, we don't believe in you anymore. Get out. And he survived, although he got 116 votes against him, which is a lot. And the only reason I know what I'm saying here is because, as I admit, every night I go to bed and I watch the British morning shows as I fall asleep in bed. I don't know why. It's become a thing for me. It's now something that I do. I like Breakfast with Eamon and Isabel on GBN. Oh, they're delightful. This Eamon's an old guy and Isabel's this younger, attractive kind of hip lady. And it's like watching a father and his daughter just tell you the news every morning. I like them. I like Eamon. Eamon's an old dude, but he's a cool old dude. Like, he's not like stodgy British, he's not like that. He's actually kind of cool. And they had a whole panel of people who were talking about how this was actually not good for Boris Johnson. I mean, it was good that he survived the no confidence vote and he gets to remain prime minister, but it's not good for anything that he wants to do, because there are 116 people, many of whom were in his own party, who are like, yeah, nope, you suck. We want somebody else. LA, Los Angeles is trending. They have a mayoral election that's going on tonight. Wait, is it the election tonight or is it the primary? I don't know. Let's pull this up. Let's see. Politics in Los Angeles are as complicated and knotty as its highway system. LA has so much inequity over. Hey, all right, here's the deal. So here's what you got. You got this woman, her name is Bass, right? And she is one of these liberal Los Angeles, California Democrats who's been in office for decades. It's my turn to be mayor. That whole thing. Yeah, this is the Democratic primary, by the way. This isn't the general. So she's been in office forever. And she's Congress, House of Rep woman. Former chair of the Black Congressional Caucus. She's leaned into her background as a community organizer. She's a real California liberal Democrat. She's running against this guy, Rick Caruso. Rick Caruso is also a Democrat. Rick Caruso is a billionaire. And Rick Caruso made all of his money in malls and property around the Los Angeles area. So he's a billionaire rich white guy who is running against this. He's running as a Democrat. Here's the problem. He's only been a Democrat for 6 months. He was a Republican his whole life. And now suddenly so people are like, oh, this is a new trick they're doing. All right, so they're getting populist Republicans to knock out uh, dyed in the wool Democrats in the primaries, and then they're walking. So whatever. I think. Hey, Kim Kardashian supports him. Oh, by the way, fun fact about Rick Caruso, this guy. Do you remember when remember Becky from Full House? Remember when her daughter got into that trouble for she lied about school or whatever. Remember the college entrance exam scandal from a couple of years ago? Um she was the daughter was on Rick Caruso's yacht when she was charged. She was she was partying with like Rick Caruso's. I don't know. This guy's got like some D-list Hollywood friends and all that kind of stuff, and because he owns malls, and I guess they like to shop. But he's only been a Democrat for 6 months, and he's gonna win. It looks like dude's gonna win. But he's very MAGA. He's a MAGA guy running for Los Angeles mayor as a Democrat, and I don't know. We'll see how that shakes out. I don't really care. Not a big deal. Fox News is trending. Fox News is trending because Fox News primetime programs, including Tucker and Sean Hannity, won't air full January 6th public hearings on Thursday, delegating live coverage to the Fox Business Network instead. Now, this was interesting. People were watching. Right now, we got ABC and we got CBS are going to be breaking into their primetime lineup and showing the congressional hearings on the January 6th insurrection on Thursday night. NBC, I think, is expected to announce today whether or not they'll be doing it. I'm not sure. Certainly, CNN and MSNBC will be covering it in their primetime lineups. But Fox News, people were watching Fox News because this Fox News is in a very difficult thing because a lot of the evidence that they're going to be showing is going to be damning to people like Tucker Carlson and other Fox News people. So the question was, is Fox News going to be airing this while, these hearings put up there that Tucker Carlson was involved in an insurrection against the United States? And Fox News is going, nope, we're going to pretend it doesn't exist. We are the people who watch Fox News. We're going to pretend this isn't news. This isn't something. And you know what? Honestly, just so that we can keep our integrity, just some shred of it, we're going to shove it over to Fox Business. So Fox News is not going to be airing it, which is funny because it would have been very interesting to watch Tucker Carlson watch himself be called a traitor by a bunch of people on TV. But Fox News isn't going to do that because Fox News isn't news. Let's stop kidding ourselves. Proud Boys are trending, but neither is CNN. CNN can S&D as well. And MSNBC, don't even get me started on that. We have no cable news. There is no authentic and reliable cable news in America. It's all just bought and paid for, and it's all just in a certain camp, and they'll just give you what that camp wants you to hear. Again, it's all about confirmation bias. Whatever you want to hear, there is a news channel that is going to tell you what you want to hear, even if it's not true. Even if it's, even if what you believe is wrong, there is a source out there that is going to say, you're not wrong. Pigs do fly. They will tell you that. Proud Boys are trending. Proud Boys were indicted yesterday on sedition charges. This makes two of the primary groups of rabble-rousers and hooligans involved in the January 6th insurrection. The Oath Keepers were indicted on federal sedition charges. The Department of Justice indicted 5 members of the far-right group, Proud Boys, including leader Enrique Tarrio, for seditious conspiracy over their involvement in the January 6th attacks on the Capitol. Couple of interesting things about this. A couple of months ago, you had the Boberts and the Marjorie Taylor Greens. There has never been anyone even charged with sedition. And then like the next day they were like, all right, you know what? Fine. You forced our hand. Oath Keepers being charged with sedition. So they had to stop that narrative. They had to stop saying that because now we've got a second group that are being charged with seditious conspiracy. And it's the Proud Boys. And their leader, this Enrique Tarrio guy, he is, this is interesting that he's been charged here, although he's not being charged with the same level of crimes as the other guys because he was not actually in Washington, D.C. The other members of his group were being charged with conspiracy. They were actually there and they were inside the Capitol. Now, Enrique Tarrio was not in the Capitol. He was not in Washington, D.C. proper because he had been arrested just outside of Washington, D.C. for some kind of crazy gun charges and all that kind of stuff. He was looking at some pretty serious charges about illegal firearms and all that kind of stuff. And the interesting part about this is that he has been working with the FBI. He has been giving them information. This guy, the leader of the Proud Boys, turned like a rat. The minute again, your inability to see anything outside of the spectrum that affects you personally. This guy got in trouble and immediately turned on all of his other Proud Boy guys. So he's still probably going to go to jail, but he's probably facing less serious charges because of that. Yesterday, the United States Department of Justice obtained a superseding indictment charging 5 members of the Proud Boys, a far-right group with seditious conspiracy for their roles in the assault on Congress on January 6th, in an attempt to prevent the Electoral College from declaring Joe Biden as winner of the 2020 presidential election. Each defendant is also charged with at least 8 additional federal offenses in a 10-count indictment. Although other defendants have pled guilty to seditious conspiracy for their roles in January 6th, this indictment is the first time it appears likely that federal prosecutors will actually go to trial on this most serious charge. The odds of conviction seem solidly in favor of the feds. In general, the Department of Justice wins approximately 90% of the criminal cases that go to trial. In specific, the indictment here lays out the tremendous investigative resources that have been devoted to preparing for this case. Yeah, investigative resources, like everything that the leader of the Proud Boys told you when he was scared about going to jail for his gun charge. I mean, people. Where's your commitment to the cause now, Enrique? We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Drag shows are trending. Oh, have you been following this? This is like... Hey, we got 19 dead kids in Uvalde, but hey, here's something important. So apparently, I don't know if it was Sunday or maybe Saturday or maybe it was even the week before. I don't know how long this has been going on. But some like drag club, and I'm not talking about drag racing. I'm talking about, dudes who dress like women. And again, that's what drag is. Drag is men that drag. I don't know if they're trans. I don't, maybe, but they're called drag shows. And traditionally, drag was the art form of men dressing as women and performing that. That's drag, performing in drag. Okay. I'm not being disrespectful. I don't give a shit if you think I am being disrespectful. I don't mean it. So, I'm not going to let you affect the way that I feel about this. So, there was a drag show in Dallas. Was it Sunday? Was it Sunday? Maybe, I don't know. But it was all over social media because apparently there were kids at this drag. First of all, a drag show happening at like 2:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday. What is that about? But there were kids and there was video of like drag queens dancing with like kids and stuff. And oh my God, certain people went nuts. Oh, trust me, I got a whole lot to say about this, but I'm just trying to lay down the groundwork of what it was. A whole bunch of people went nuts. And now a Texas lawmaker is going to ban minors from attending drag shows. That's, again, we're just a couple of weeks out from 19 kids being slaughtered in their school. But a Texas state representative says he will file a bill at the next legislative session that will ban minors from drag shows following an event in Dallas over the weekend that drew both supporters and protesters. On Saturday, Dallas bar Mr. Mr. held an event called Drag the Kids to Pride. It was a drag show in the city's Oak Lawn neighborhood. Organizers called it a family-friendly event where kids could dance with drag performers. Videos from the event sparked criticism throughout social media and even led to protests at the bar on Saturday. The criticism surrounded the idea of children being involved with a drag show. While many criticized the event, one Texas lawmaker is going a step further, announcing that he will be looking to file legislation in response to Saturday's event. This is important. I only have so many hours in the day, but I'm going to spend a number of hours on this. What about the school shooting stuff? What? This is drag. These are like fruits and stuff. What? Trust me protecting kids from fruity people way more important than me protecting kids from psychopaths with assault rifles. State Rep Brian Slayton, who represents areas of Hunt, Rains, and Van Zant counties in East Texas, said on Monday that he will file a bill during the next legislative session 2023 that would ban minors from attending drag shows. Here's something that he put out. Drag shows are no place for a child. I would never take my children to a drag show, and I know Speaker Dale Phelan and my Republican colleagues wouldn't either. I will be filing legislation to address this issue in the new Texas legislature. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about freedoms, right? Okay. Because I am certain that State Rep Brian Slayton has gone on in his past about freedoms, America, liberty, and, government and oppressive, all that kind of shit. I'm sure he has. I would never take my children to a drag show, he says. What he's really saying is you can never take your children to a drag show. Now, look, I happen to be of the opinion that I'm not taking I don't want to go to a drag show. I got no problem with it. It's like, look, if people want to do that, if that is their choice of entertainment, it seems harmless. It's just not something I'm interested in. Although, let me tell you something. My kid and I, he's a 13-year-old boy, we have a very bizarre connection with humor between the two of us. Like we can finish each other's jokes and we know we're very similar in the way that we think. If we were walking down a street in Oak Lawn on a Sunday and the doors were open to a drag club and there was some drag stuff going on, I can't say 100% that he and I wouldn't look at each other and go, let's go in, right? I mean, I can't say that we would. So now, because we would enjoy that, we'd enjoy it because it'd be, it's men dressed as women. Monty Python, Kids in the Hall, they're funny. They're funny. This is not a trans issue. I'm not going in there to mug. Ha ha. It's funny because I'm better than them. Ha. It's funny because I would never do. No, it's funny because it's, well, it's funny. I need Sybil for this. It's funny because she used to always Sybil, our old producer, used to be able to break down why things were funny. Sybil, why is that funny? Well, it's funny because, and then she would, and much of the time, she would miss the mark on why it was funny. And it was just adorable. And that's why it was so good. But I don't know why my son and I would think it's funny. I don't know. We would be entertained. But how about this? Funny is a form of entertainment. And I believe that that's the entire purpose of a drag show, is to entertain. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say, all right, guess what we're doing tonight? We're getting all gussied up. You need to shower and put on deodorant and brush your teeth because we're going down to the drag show and we're going to enjoy it. And we wouldn't do that. But again, if there was I can't say that walking by a drag show, we wouldn't look at each other and go, we got to check this out. We got to see what's going on in there. Let's go. So now I got this guy, I got Mr. Oppressive Government Overreach going, no, you couldn't have that experience with it. Really? Isn't that kind of isn't the height of libertarian values? And I want to bring this up to James tonight on the Pillow Talk show because he's Mr. Libertarian. I am absolutely positive that he is against this law that would ban parents from being able to take children to drag shows. I'm against almost anything that the government says that parents can't do with their children, as long as it doesn't harm the child, as long as it's not there's a law now that says that parents can't play Russian roulette with their kids. Okay. All right. I can get behind that. That's a good one. You can't leave your kid alone for a weekend when he's 5 years old. Okay. I totally get that. But this guy, in the wake of the Uvalde shootings, he is actually trying to get some political mileage out of something so stupid. Are you kidding me? People who want to go to drag shows will go to drag shows. People who don't want to go to drag shows aren't going to go to drag shows. I mean, aside from maybe one of the drag performers' mothers who doesn't want to be there, there is nobody in the audience at a drag show that doesn't want to be there of their own free will. Freedom! America! Now, let's get to the issue of parents bringing their children for Pride Week to dance with drag stars. I saw the videos. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I didn't see anything wrong. The only thing that I saw wrong with it is that I could see how people who are of a certain mindset, who believe that the very act of being a drag performer is somehow insidious, dangerous, and sexual in nature. I can tell you, I saw these drag performers. Ain't nothing sexual going on there. They ain't sexy. This is not sexy. Bunch of people in powdered wigs. I mean, it was so over the top. It was just so weird. It's not like, okay, so, but I did see like one drag performer dancing, for a little kid. And I'm like, this is what they're upset about. I go, okay, so I wouldn't do this. I don't think that I would, this wouldn't be how I would spend my Saturday. Again, unless we just happened upon it and it was a goof. Well, we wouldn't load up the car and go specifically to go to this thing. So I saw this and I'm like, okay. So these people are saying that these parents shouldn't be able to expose their children to this lifestyle. Their children. So this law is now dictating what a parent in the United States of America is allowed, socially speaking, in the social sphere of the world that we live in today. This law is saying that parents are going to be banned from exposing their children to whatever the fuck they want to expose their children to that isn't dangerous or harmful. Why? Because you think this is dangerous? Well, you think it's dangerous. I don't think it's dangerous. Again, he says, I would never take my children to a drag show, so I am writing legislation that says that you can't either. Brian Slayton, you pandering fool, you silly, silly little man. And is this really a problem? Is this a thing that happens regularly at 2:00 in the morning in Oak Lawn on a Saturday night? Are we seeing a bunch of kids running around drag clubs? Come on, man. So stupid. So stupid. But when you're a politician now, it's not about legislating for the greater good. It is about making an impact on the idiots that you want to vote for you. So if you've determined that your district is full of idiots, you go, what are some idiot issues that I can really get these people, because they don't care about, they can't think about the hard stuff. The hard stuff gives them tired head. What are some stupid shit? They're hateful. Is there anything that like really would get these hateful people on my side? Yeah, you can do some hateful shit. Okay, let's do that. That's all this is. That's all this is. Just hateful, stupid shit. There ain't busloads of kids showing up in Oaklawn, which is, by the way, the gay neighborhood in Dallas. There ain't busloads of kids showing up in Oaklawn to go hang out in gay bars and drag clubs. It's just not happening. All right. Also trending today, another Texas story. Boy, this is this woman. She kind of has a Paula Poundstone situation happening with her. Paula Poundstone, you remember Paula Poundstone? She was a female stand-up comedian, and about 22 years ago, about 20 years ago, 21 years ago maybe, about 21 years ago now, she got her kids taken away from her in California because she was apparently abusive and she was an alcoholic. These were all charges. I don't know how it played out. And there's a reason why we don't know how this all played out. But it was the biggest story in America. It was huge. It was leading. Every comedian was telling jokes about it. News in California. Comedian Paula Poundstone arrived in court today. It was like, it was a big deal, the Paula Poundstone thing. But here's what happened. It was the biggest story in America on September 10th, 2021. Paula Poundstone was the biggest story in America on September 10th, 2021. And then on 2001, sorry. Yeah, on September 10th, 2001. Then on September 11th, 2001, something happened that knocked the Paula Poundstone story completely off of the American radar screen. And we never really got into this next story that's trending here. Kind of had that with Uvalde. And I'm talking about Caitlin Armstrong. Caitlin Armstrong is trending again today. She hasn't been trending for about 2 weeks since the Uvalde shooting. Before the Uvalde shooting, one of the big stories concerning Texas crime was Caitlin Armstrong. Caitlin Armstrong, remember her? She's the hot yoga teacher in Austin who murdered the professional bike racer. She was in a love triangle. Her boyfriend was a pro bike racer, and her boyfriend had an affair with this other bike racer who came to town. And Caitlin Armstrong went to this apartment where this other female bike racer was staying, and she murdered her. And then the police wanted to talk to her, so she came in and she gave her story to the police, and the police didn't have enough to hold her. So Caitlin Armstrong just walked out of jail and disappeared into the ether. And there was like a huge manhunt for Caitlin Armstrong for like 3 days, and then Uvalde happened. And then she got Paula Poundstone. We completely forgot about Caitlin Armstrong. Well, guess what? She's still in the wind. Caitlin Armstrong is still out there. She has gotten away. She just and we were talking about this the day it happened. It's like she's going to be hard to find. She's going to be hard to find because she's attractive, because she's young. She's probably got a lot of dude friends around the country because attractive Austin yoga teachers, they have dude friends around the country. There are probably any number of places that she can go and she can hide. Hell, she could fly to any city in America, go into a bar and live with a dude for 2 weeks. She could just meet any guy. She'd just pick him out at the bar, start flirting with him. She would have to, identify her mark. And then she would be like, okay, this guy will take care of me. Because, there's a lot of lonely dudes out there drinking alone in bars that would take care of a really good looking without knowing anything about what she's wanted for in Texas. Caitlin Marie Armstrong is seen in a driver's license photo and on video surveillance footage, right? And it's just showing a couple of pictures here. Federal authorities have upgraded the search for a Texas woman accused of killing a woman who dated her boyfriend to major case status. Law enforcement say that the murder suspect was dropped off at a major international airport just 1 day after police obtained a warrant for her arrest. Caitlin Marie Armstrong, 34, is suspected of shooting and killing Anna Moe Wilson, 25, on May the 11th. Wilson, originally from Vermont, was a professional cyclist in Texas for the Gravel Locos race, where she was considered a favorite. Wilson had apparently had a romantic relationship with Armstrong's boyfriend, Colin Strickland, who is also a professional cyclist. When Armstrong and Strickland had been separated, that's when the affair, we were on a break. On the day she was killed, Moe Wilson had gone swimming with Strickland. He dropped her off at the East Austin home of her friend, Caitlin Cash. That's a cool name. Where she was staying just moments before she was killed. According to the arrest warrant, Cash found Wilson around 10 p.m. after arriving home and finding Wilson in the bathroom covered in blood. She called 911 and was performing CPR when first responders arrived, but Wilson was pronounced dead at the scene. As Law and Crime previously reported, law enforcement had announced that Armstrong was believed to have traveled from Texas to New York City. So they believe she was in New York City within days. Dallas, she was believed to have come from Dallas. Ed Lavandera of CNN reported that she was seen in Dallas. So they believe she may have flown from Dallas to New York City. Now, U.S. Marshals say that someone dropped Armstrong off at a major New York airport. The U.S. Marshals Lone Star Fugitive Task Force, assisting with the fugitive investigation of an Austin woman wanted for homicide, has learned that the suspect, Caitlin Armstrong, was dropped off at Newark Liberty International Airport on May 18th, days after Austin police obtained a warrant for her arrest. A search of outbound flights at the Newark airport revealed no reservations had been made under the name of Caitlin Marie Armstrong. How do you do that? Right? Like, I wouldn't know how to do that. I wouldn't know how to book a flight and get on a plane without my real name and corresponding ID. She's getting some help. Somebody's helping her out with this. The U.S. Marshals Service has upgraded the Armstrong investigation to major case status and is offering, are you ready for this? Are you ready? Are you ready for the reward? It's a major case. Here's what they're offering. $5K. Look, Dog the Bounty Hunter don't get out of bed for less than $50K. So I don't know what you're trying to do. $5K reward for this woman? Talk about hot white yoga girl privilege. $5K reward for information leading to her arrest. On May the 25th, federal investigators obtained another warrant for Armstrong, this time for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. Caitlin Armstrong is accused of a very serious crime that needs answers, said U.S. Marshal for the Western District of Texas, Suzanne Parmelo. The best thing she can do at this point, wherever she is surrender to authorities so she can return safely to Austin and answer the charges against her. She's still in the wind. They may not, well, you know what? They will catch her, but they'll probably catch her in like September, and it'll just be a blurb and be like, oh, they finally caught her. Totally forgot about her. But there you go. Caitlin Armstrong. She definitely did. She benefited from the. She got Paula Poundstone. She benefited from the Uvalde situation, completely knocking her off the front page. No, but she wasn't splashed over in the days prior. She had been all over news. Pictures of her everywhere. And then for like the last 2 weeks, she's been nowhere. They haven't even mentioned her. It's like, okay, if you didn't see her in the 2 days following the murder and after she was, the arrest warrant was issued, you probably don't know what she looks like. The Washington Post is trending as well. Okay, so this is a story. Let's get into this, shall we? Let's talk about this. Man, oh man. So Dave Weigel, who is a political journalist for the Washington Post, he's one of their top guys. He's one of their top dude. Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see what's happening here. Is this breaking news worth breaking into? I don't know. Let's see. Hold on. Or did it already happen? Hold on. Give me a second. Oh, okay. Gotta watch this ad. Hold on. There might be some breaking news.
Can we move on, guys? Please. Turn on the subtitles. Then dim the lights. Okay, dimming the lights.
Share it, but somehow.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on.
Alethea smile in heaven.
All right, hold on.
Showing someone else Alethea's art would in some way keep her alive. Now, this particular drawing is a self-portrait, all right, of Alethea drawing with her friend in heaven looking down on her, drawing the very same picture.
Hold on, folks. It's kind of crazy.
About heaven before, but something she knew. Alethea, 10 years old.
This might be worth watching. And then again, we might not be able to. Matthew McConaughey is at the White House and he's kind of ranting and raving in the press room. What the fudge? Are we not? Are we going to miss? Bear with us here. It's just spinning. It's just spinning. It's just freaking spinning. Come on. Let's try this again. You son of a gun. Okay, let's try this one more time. Okay. Yeah, never mind. All right, never mind. Forget about it. Matthew McConaughey is, buffering. It's driving me absolutely nuts. Let's go here. Let's see if we can do this. by the time we get to this. Let me try this.
They wrote a letter.
Ah.
Her mom said if Maite's letter could help someone accomplish her dream, that then her death would have an impact. And it would mean her dying had a point and wasn't pointless. That it would make the loss of her life matter. The letter reads, Marine biologist, I want to pass school to get to my dream college. My dream college is in Corpus Christi by the ocean. I need to live next to the ocean because I want to be a marine biologist. Marine biologists study animals and the water. Most of the time I will be in a lab. Sometimes I will be on TV. Then there was Ellie Garcia, a 10-year-old, and her parents, Stephen and Jennifer.
All right, I have no idea
Ellie
why this
loved
isn't working.
Dance, and she loved church. She even knew how to drive tractors and was already working with her dad and her uncle mowing yards. Ellie was always giving of her gifts, her time, even half-eaten food on her plate. They said around the house, we called her the Great Regifter. Smiling through tears, her family told us how Ellie loved to embrace. Said she was the biggest hugger in the family. Now, Ellie was born Catholic, but had been going to Baptist church with her uncle for the last couple of years. Her mom and dad were proud of her because...
You know what? I'm so angry right now. I don't know why this fucking thing is just buffering. It's worked 100% of the times that we've done it before, but now for some reason it's just buffering. I hate buffering. What percentage of my life is going to be wasted waiting for shit to buffer? You little fucking... Come on. Just spinning. Crap.
That's who Ellie
I don't know.
becoming. But she never got to read it. Service on Wednesday night. Then there was a fairy tale love story. Irma and her husband Joe. What a great family this was. This was an amazing family. Camilla and I, we sat with about 20 of their family members in the living room, along with their 4 kids. Kids were 23, 19, 15, and 13. They shared all these stories about how Irma and Joe served the community and host all these parties, and how Irma and Joe were planning on getting a food truck together when they soon retired. They were humble, hard-working people. Irma was a teacher who her family said went above and beyond and just couldn't say no to any kind of teaching.
All right, maybe
Joe
this one will work.
had been commuting to and from work 70 miles away in Del Rio for years. Together they were the glue of the family. Both worked overtime.
Now the second. I don't know. The computer that I am using
Even worked every summer
for the show is not playing any video. It's just buffering,
the front
and
of the house.
buffering. So we're not going to get to see Matthew McConaughey in live.
This summer's work.
He's basically standing in the White House press room, and he's being very performative, and he is reading and talking about the 19 children who were killed in his hometown of Uvalde, Texas. He's doing this at the same time that members of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are supposedly getting together and talking and working through all this stuff. Still buffering.
They never got to paint the back of their house. They never got to retire. And they never got to get that food truck together. We also met a cosmetologist. She was well-versed in mortuary makeup. That's the task of making the victims appear as peaceful and natural for their open casket viewings. These bodies were very different. They needed much more than makeup to be presentable. They needed extensive restoration. Why? Due to the exceptionally large exit wounds of an AR-15 rifle.
All right. Fuck it. I'm so pissed off right now. I don't know why this isn't. It's working on this one. It's working on this. So angry. All right. So there you have it. I'm sure people will be reporting on that later. Matthew McConaughey kind of being very dramatic. And, it's his hometown. I mean, apparently now he's got a very strong feeling on this. Adam Reyna, there he goes. Adam Reyna. Do we have to listen to this shit? Jesus, I spent a week feeling like shit. Well, it's all about you. well, if you're done talking about it, since you've already made up your mind. Yeah, no, it's pretty, it was pretty compelling. I wish I could have shown it to you. All right, so let's move forward. So I wanted to talk about this. This is trending from the Washington Post. Dave Weigel, who is one of the writers, one of the chief political writers for the Washington Post, has been suspended by the Washington Post because of a joke that he retweeted on Twitter. Now, he retweeted this joke on Twitter. He didn't come up with the joke. He just retweeted it. And a coworker who also works at the Washington Post, a woman, saw it and responded, "Really? Really? Is this what you think is funny?" And then she reported him to HR. And now there's a whole big brouhaha happening in the press room at the Washington Post because some dude in his spare time retweeted a joke about women. How long have men been telling jokes about women? Women, it's totally okay for women to tell jokes about men at any turn. Hell, you can't turn on a television commercial on network television without seeing the man be the butt of a joke. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a commercial with a husband and wife on television where the husband wasn't either one, the asshole, or two, the complete fucking moron? Every joke about men being stupid, men being this, men being that. And I am not one of these people. Men's rights. I'm not. I'm just calling bullshit on the hypocrisy that this guy, Dave Weigel, has now had his career upended because he retweeted a joke about women, a harmless, silly joke. It wasn't, "I'm a man and women suck and we should put them in cages." It wasn't that. You want to know what the joke is that got this guy in trouble, that caused a coworker, a woman, to go, "Really? Really? I have to work in a newsroom where I suffer this kind of harassment?" That is literally what her complaint was, that she was this joke wounded her. That him retweeting the joke, not telling the joke, not creating the joke, not formulating the joke, putting the joke out there, retweeting it on his personal Twitter feed that she follows him. So she's kind of asking for it, right? He didn't give this to her. He didn't send it to her and go, "Hey, here's a joke. I hope it personally wounds you." No, he just put it out there on his Twitter and she saw it and she said, "Really? Really? Is this the kind of misogynistic..." Okay, so now he got in trouble at the Washington Post. Dave Weigel, he has been suspended for retweeting this joke from a third party on Twitter that offended some woman who, by the way, just lost a sexual harassment. The same woman, she brought sexual harassment charges against management at the Washington Post recently, and she lost. They were like, "Yeah, no, you weren't sexually harassed." But here she goes again. This guy retweets a joke. "Really? Really?" She goes to HR again. They suspend him, and now there's a fight in the newsroom because everybody else in the newsroom is like, "What is wrong with you? You crazy Amber Heard, not taking anything with a grain of salt, being personally and mortally wounded by every little aggression." You want to know what the joke was? Here's the joke that got Dave Weigel, one of the top political investigative journalists in the country, suspended from the Washington Post. Are you ready? Here's the joke. Wait a second. Let me get it right. I don't want to blow the joke. Because it's funny. And you know what? It's harmless and it's silly. And again, if if the next commercial for whatever, I don't even know what it is, insurance in the house or whatever the hell it is, they can again, every joke or every commercial on television has the husband being the complete fucking moron who is his wife is the smart one who makes all the right decisions. Look at the asshole I'm dealing with. We all laugh about that. That's fine. But this joke being retweeted got this guy suspended and could possibly damage his career. So here is the joke. Let me make sure I want to make sure I get this joke right because now I'm angry. Okay. The Washington Post has suspended reporter David Weigel for a month without pay for retweeting a sexist joke. Two people familiar with the matter said on Monday. Weigel did not respond to a request for comment, but an out-of-office reply from his Post email added that said that he would return to work on July 5th. A spokesperson for the Post declined to comment, citing a need for privacy regarding personal matters. Weigel's retweet was spotlighted publicly by his colleague, Felicia Sonmez, who recently had a discrimination lawsuit against the paper dismissed, a decision her attorney has said she plans to appeal. Sonmez sarcastically wrote on Twitter on Friday that it is fantastic to work at a news outlet where retweets like this are allowed. She attached a screen grab showing Weigel's retweet, which was a tweet from a YouTuber who joked, "Here's the joke. Are you ready? This is what got this guy suspended. Every girl is bi. You just have to figure out if it's bipolar or bisexual." Fire him! Come on. Are you kidding me? I don't want to live in a world where everybody is so hypersensitive. Every girl is bi. You just have to figure out if it's polar or sexual. Oh, I can't believe I read that. I am so wounded. How can I go to work? I can't go to work. I must call HR. I must get that man suspended without pay for a month. So what did he do? When he wrote this tweet? Oh no, he didn't write it. Oh, so this okay. So, but he sent it to you. No, he didn't send it to me. I follow him on Twitter. Sometimes he's pretty funny, and I said I do. This was a retweet. And this guy, look, he might be a misogynist. Hell, I know a lot of dudes who are misogynists. I'm not. But I'm so sick of the double standard. It is, oh, woe is you, Pugs, middle-aged white man in America with everybody coming down on him. Well, look, I push back on that too. I think that that's a little bit ridiculous because a lot of the people who make these, oh, now I'm a victim, middle-aged white man, can't do anything right. A lot of these people are assholes and they deserve to. This guy, this joke, retweeting this is not an asshole thing. This is somewhere outside. It's just fantastic that the Washington Post, she's bitter because she brought a bullshit charge that went to court and it got dismissed because there were no grounds for it. And now she's just doing scorched earth. And she got a very good investigative political reporter suspended without pay for a month because she read a joke that he retweeted that she disagreed with. Oh my God. Others on Friday joined the discussion in the Washington Post newsroom, prompting national editor Matea Gold to say, "I just want to assure all of you that the Post is committed to maintaining a respectful workplace for everyone. We do not tolerate demeaning language or actions." The Post chief spokesperson, Chris Coriati, also issued a statement to the press that said, "Editors have made clear to the staff that the tweet was reprehensible and demeaning language or actions like that will not be tolerated." But the public and private admonishment of Weigel's retweet has failed to quell tensions inside the Post. Jose Del Real, a reporter at the Post, responded on Twitter Saturday to Sonmez's initial tweet. Del Rio said Weigel's tweet was terrible and unacceptable, but he also added, "Rallying the internet to attack him for a mistake he made doesn't solve anything. We all mess up in some way or another. There is such a thing as challenging with compassion." Sonmez, the complainant, Felicia, responded saying that calling out sexism isn't cruelty, but something that is absolutely necessary. Sonmez and Del Real then proceeded to engage in a back and forth over Twitter on Saturday, with Del Real ultimately moving to temporarily deactivate his account. Oh my God. Seriously, I'm telling you. All women are bi. You just have to figure out if it's bisexual or bipolar. Are you kidding me? That's a terrible joke. Okay, so here we go. Here's something. Let's suspend him for a month without pay for a just incredibly aggressive and just something we can't tolerate joke that he retweeted, that he didn't come up with. He just thought it was funny. He's like, maybe other people get a laugh at this. Let's transition from that to now a 24th lawsuit being brought in civil court against Deshaun Watson, a guy who was paid $250 million, even though there were 23 other actual sexual harassment charges, civil, not legal, and he was the criminal charges did not pass a grand jury, so he didn't. There are no criminal charges, but I don't understand this world. I don't get it. $250 million to Deshaun Watson, who has 24 now women coming forward saying that, yeah, this guy did some like pretty creepy stuff. Meanwhile, Dave Weigel, who's just a regular political reporter, he retweets a joke from a third party and is suspended without pay for a month. And now he has this black mark on his career forever. He was he's now the misogynist guy. He's now the guy. But Deshaun Watson, we'll all gather around our TVs and fill stadiums to root for him as soon as he gets back on the field. And I don't even know. I mean, here's my thoughts on Deshaun Watson. I think that we've seen with Amber Heard, and Amber Heard is not representative of all women. There are women out there who are legitimate victims, because I know for a fact that there are dudes out there who are legitimate predators. Okay. There are dudes out there who are pieces of shit who take advantage of women in really grotesque ways. That cannot be denied. Amber Heard showed us an anomaly, I believe, in the other direction, where there was a woman who attempted to take down a man based upon the sexual hyper harassment climate that we live in today. That's what Amber Heard tried to piggyback on. Amber Heard decided she didn't like being dumped by Johnny Depp, so she was going to take him down by manufacturing all of this bullshit about him because the climate is right. #MeToo. But I do think she's a bit of an anomaly, an outlier. I do think that, there are most women might have a point, is all I'm saying. Not all, but most. I also happen to know for a fact, having been friends over the years with professional athletes, that there are a lot of piece of shit women who will do whatever it takes to get themselves a man with money. So, you got to look at the Deshaun Watson situation and go, okay, so one massage therapist is bringing charges against him for doing this act. He was jerking off on the table is basically what he's being accused of. Touching them inappropriately and jerking off on the massage table. Okay, so one comes forward and you go, all right, let's look at this case. All right, let's figure this out. Let's see this woman's background. What do we know about her? Is it possible? Yeah, it's absolutely possible. But is it definitely true? No, we don't know that because it's just one. It's 24. It's 24 women. This is like the Cosby situation. One woman comes forward and says, Bill Cosby does this. And I'm like, Bill Cosby? I'm going to need a little bit more. I'm going to need to learn a little bit more about this particular situation. 40-something women come forward with Bill Cosby. I'm like, all right, never mind. I'm thinking this is not looking bad for old. It's not looking good for Russell Wilson. Oh, God forbid, Deshaun Watson. A 24th woman has filed a civil lawsuit Monday alleging sexual misconduct by Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson, who is also awaiting possible discipline from the NFL. $250 million. The latest lawsuit was filed in Houston by attorney Tony Busby, who is representing all 24 women. Lost in the media frenzy surrounding Deshaun Watson is that these are 24 strong, courageous women who, despite ridicule, legal shenanigans, and intense media scrutiny, what? I don't know who any of these women are. Do you know these women's pictures aren't on billboards as we roll down America's highways? They're not being featured on television, 24. I don't know who any of these women are. I know who Deshaun Watson is, and I know that regardless of whatever he had done prior to this, he will now forever be the scumbag who did really inappropriate things with now 24 massage therapists. Whether that's true or not, whether that is true or not, and I believe there's probably some fire here because there's an awful lot of smoke, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just looking at the stories. He, no matter what, 10 years from now, if he's still playing in the NFL, he's going to be, oh, yeah, I remember when he did all that stuff. He's a creeper. He's a sex perv. The lawyer. These women have been ridiculed. I don't know who any of these women are. No idea. Watson has been accused by massage therapists of harassing, assaulting, and or touching them during appointments when he was with the Houston Texans. The latest lawsuit makes similar allegations as the woman, a massage therapist, accuses Watson of assaulting and harassing her during an August 2020 session in her apartment. The woman alleges that during the massage session, Watson exposed himself and masturbated and offered no apology or explanation for his conduct. The woman has quit being a massage therapist because of what happened to her. She's never seen a man do that before. So ugly. Rusty Hardin, Watson's lead attorney, said he could not immediately comment on the latest lawsuit. Our legal team has not had time to investigate this new filing and had not heard her name until today. So many moving parts in here. Do I believe that these 24 women are all lying? No. Do I believe that Deshaun Watson is guilty of this? No, I don't know yet. I don't know. Do I believe that there is an awful lot of smoke and that in my life experience, when there's this much smoke, there's probably at least a little fire? Yeah, that I know. That I know. But I also, like I said, I also know that pro football players, pro basketball players, Major League Baseball players, any young, attractive, stupid, sexually hyper guy with a lot of money is always going to be a target for, women who are looking to, get a little something. Oh, so all women are whores. That is not what I said. That is not what I said. But yes, some women are whores. Some women are, look, we celebrated the movie Bull Durham. We love the character of Susan Sarandon and the representation of what were lovingly deemed baseball Annies for 70 years, groupies for rock bands. Come on, man. This is a thing. Women sometimes use sexuality to get with a guy who's got a lot of money. It's a thing. Let's stop pretending like it's not. Now, do women in the NBA, and how many NBA players have, had one night stands with women who got knocked up? That's a thing. It's a thing. It happens. Not all women. Not all women. Some women, yeah, because not all women are awesome, just like not all marriages are comprised of a brilliant and decent wife and a complete fucking moron husband, as we see in television commercials, right? It's a little bit more nuanced than that. It's a little bit more. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Deshaun Watson situation, other than now there's a 24th woman that has come forward. And even though he had 23 of these charges, he still got a $250 million payday from the Cleveland Browns. Whereas Dave Weigel, who probably makes $150,000 a year writing for the Washington Post, has to spend the summer without any pay because he retweeted a joke. Mike Tomlin. Speaking of football, Mike Tomlin is trending. Why is Mike Tomlin trending? Well, here, I'll show you. I'll show you why Mike Tomlin is trending. Look at, well, actually, I don't have to show it to you. I can just go through it like this. NFL, what is it? NFL.com? Is this an NFL.com thing? Let me see. It's, I know it's something that seemed to have a little bit of respect. Okay, yeah, so this is NFL.com. The NFL.com has released its 2022 NFL head coach rankings, where it ranked the 10 best head coaches in the NFL. And it's a fucking mess. This list is dumb. This list is just, are you insane? Whatever. I guess, we can all argue about it. Number 10. Here's number 10, Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy's a moron. I'm sorry. I know that, come on, how about them Cowboys? Look, I know. Mike McCarthy's a moron. Frank Reich, number 9 with the Baltimore Colts. Okay, we can have that conversation. Mike Vrabel of the Tennessee Titans. Okay, yeah, we can have that conversation. Number 7, Kyle Shanahan. I think Kyle Shanahan deserves to be a little bit higher, but okay, number 7. I could see him making the top 10 NFL coaches. Number 6, Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur, Green Bay Packers. I can't say the Packers. I hate the Packers, but he's a good coach. Pete Carroll, number 5. What? Pete Carroll hasn't been good. Pete Carroll? Are you? Number 4, Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury is ranked as the 4th best head coach in the NFL. Andy Reid at number 3. All right. Yeah. I mean, look, Andy Reid's definitely in the conversation for top 3. John Harbaugh, number 2. Again, number 2 is John Harbaugh. I might put Kyle Shanahan at number 2. I don't know. John Harbaugh at number 2. John Harbaugh can certainly be in the top. And then number 1, guess who? The top coach in the NFL, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick. Okay. So everybody's freaking out and Mike Tomlin is trending because they're like, how the fuck is Mike Tomlin not in the top 10? But you're going to put Mike McCarthy. You're going to keep Pete Carroll. You got Cliff Kingsbury in the top 5 NFL coaches, but Mike Tomlin, who is one of the most high. Here's how I look at this. If Cliff Kingsbury and Mike Tomlin were both fired tomorrow, who would get a job first? Who would get another job? I'm telling you, it would be Mike Tomlin. If Mike McCarthy and Mike Tomlin were both available as of tomorrow for some NFL team out there, who would be the guy they would want? Mike Tomlin would be the guy they would want more. Same can be said for, you can say the same for even like Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur has not accomplished anything. How is Matt LaFleur at number 6, but Kyle Shanahan is at number 7? At the very least, that should be flip-flopped. So that's why Mike Tomlin is trending, because the NFL just put a whole bunch of people on that list that don't deserve to be on that list. Mike McCarthy and Pete Carroll, chief among them. Oh, and Cliff Kingsbury. Let's not forget about him. Are you kidding me? The 10 best coaches in the NFL? Adam Reyna points out, Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season in his entire career. Yeah, well, let's see here. Phil Mickelson is trending. Phil Mickelson is trending because he's joined after all of the hemming and hawing and all the controversy. He's joining that Saudi Arabian golf tour. But so has somebody else. Who's the other guy that? Is it Dustin Johnson? Is that the other guy? Phil Mickelson is rumored to be getting $200 million to play golf in the new Saudi competitive league to the PGA. Now, what they're doing, Dustin Johnson is the other guy. Dustin Johnson is going to sign for $150 million. So what's going on here with this Saudi league is that the Saudi government, they need to get into the pop culture game. They need to sort of fix their reputation, and they got to do more things that are fun and stuff like that. So they've decided that they're going to attract wealthy white people with golf, wealthy white Americans with golf. So they have essentially started what is really starting to look like the USFL of golf. The PGA is the NFL. The PGA is the big tour. But this new Saudi-backed league that is paying dudes who are missing cuts. They're paying older guys who are PGA names, PGA name brands. They're paying them ridiculous amounts of money. They're not so old that they need to be on the seniors tour or anything like that. But they're paying these guys on the down slope of their PGA careers unbelievable amounts of money to come join this new tour. The great white shark, Greg Norman, by the way, is the guy that's in charge of it. He's sort of like the commissioner of the new league. Greg Norman, the front man for the controversial Saudi-backed LIV golf series on Monday, landed 51-year-old Phil Mickelson. LIV Golf this past week announced 42 of the 48 players in the field for its first event, Thursday through Saturday outside London, and the world's number 13 Dustin Johnson was the biggest name on the list. Now the event will also feature Mickelson, who will be playing a tournament for the first time since February 6th when he competed in the Saudi International Tournament. Johnson's participation came as a surprise considering he'd publicly backed the PGA Tour back in February. But a report out of the United Kingdom in the Telegraph said that Johnson was offered $125 million by the LIV Golf to join its series of tournaments. Mickelson's compensation hasn't been announced nor confirmed, but there was one report saying that he's being paid $200 million. So they're coming for the PGA's downslope guys. And again, this is only interesting because Phil Mickelson himself back in February got in some hot water for discussing this. He believed it was off the record, but it was by the person he was talking to believed it was on the record, where Phil Mickelson said that the Saudis were basically bad people. He doesn't want to be in business with the Saudis because they killed Jamal Khashoggi and all that kind of stuff. But the larger thing is that Phil Mickelson feels that the PGA is not paying their players what their players are worth. And so ultimately, even though it means getting in bed with murderous thugs like the Saudi government, it is good because it's challenging the PGA. Again, good for him because this only affects him. This is his. Look, I have a moral. I'm very set in my principles. My moral anchor says that I shouldn't be doing business with the Saudis, but the PGA ain't paying me enough. So I'm going to just completely forego all of my moral anchoring and my principles. And and that's why Phil Mickelson kind of got in trouble. Top cats are trending. You know, top cats, what the top cats are. I didn't know what the top cats were either. And then I clicked on the story and I'm like, yeah, geez, here we go. The Top Cats are the Carolina Panthers cheerleading squad, and they're trending because they hired their first trans cheerleader. Cheerleaders are stupid. All right, let me just start all of this by saying cheerleaders are stupid. I don't care. I think the whole cheerleader thing is stupid anyway. Why you dressed like that? Why are the Dallas Cowgirls, Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders? It's just Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, right? Why are the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders dressed like that? Why aren't they wearing turtlenecks and snow pants? And what? It's cold. A lot of these get. It's cold. It's December. Why are they dressed like that? I didn't want to answer that, do you? It's because they exist solely for the exploitation of their physical assets. That's what it's all about. And I'm fine with that. I come from the 80s. I am a creeper, apparently, who followed a woman through a Whole Foods. So I don't really have a problem with that. But I thought that, on the greater scale, that we have a problem with that now. So what is that about? What is this whole cheerleader thing still about? How come they're no, as James Parker pointed out yesterday on the Pillow Talk show, which comes on, at 9 p.m. Central Time, James and I, he said that there has never been a, quote, swamp donkey, his words, who has been a pop singer, meaning there has never been a physically unattractive woman who has been a pop singer. And, we shot that down. He was wrong. We threw out a whole bunch of people. And then I felt bad because it's like, now why am I just throwing out women that I think are unattractive? Why am I judging? It was very complicated. He baited me in and I took it. But why aren't there any obviously unattractive cheerleaders in the NFL? What is that? Because cheerleaders are there to be ogled. That's the entire purpose. No, they're not. The team derives inspiration from them when they hear their cheers on the side. They don't even cheer. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders don't have a they don't do a cheer. Here's what the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders do. That's it. And we see them on TV going in and out of commercial breaks. They're not cheerleaders. They're not inspired. Look, the cheerleader concept was originally exactly that. They would be used to get the crowd into the game, to inspire the team on the floor, on the field. And that was a nice thing. That was a nice, quaint Norman Rockwell 1950s kind of thing. That ain't what cheerleaders in the NFL have ever been. That is not. Cheerleaders in the NFL exist so that horny dudes can go, man, I like the one on the left. I like the third from the right. That's the whole reason that they exist. And here we are in 2022, and they're still a thing, and they're sticking around now because they're putting a trans woman on the Top Cats down there in Carolina, which, again, I got an issue with the whole cheerleader thing. Actually, I don't have an issue. I have an issue with the hypocrisy that says, look, I think it's fine to put a bunch of pretty women down. I'm a heterosexual man. Heterosexual men like looking at pretty women, okay? What are you, a rapist? How does it go from me being a normal heterosexual man attracted to attractive women? How does that turn me into a rapist? Because you're going to rape them. No, what? I'm not a rapist. I'm a heterosexual guy who, when I see a good-looking woman, I go, that's a fine-looking woman. That's nature. That's just who I am. That's who most people are. But now society says, nope, can't do that. That's exploitation. Okay. These women are, have you ever seen the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader show? Have you ever seen what these women go through to become a member of That's not justification. I'm not trying to justify it. What I'm trying to say is that these women are willing participants. And just because you as a woman is saying it's one thing, these are also women, and they are willingly participating in the great machine that you say is exploiting their gender for the entertainment of a bunch of horny dudes. Okay. So back to the Carolina Panthers. Isn't it weird that it's Carolina? Like it's Carolina. Hey, man, I don't know about that transsexual cheerleader out there. It's Carolina. Like if any team was going to, have the first trans cheerleader, honestly, Jacksonville would have been the bottom. Green Bay would have been, because there are no trans in Green Bay. Trust me, there's 15 people in Green Bay. None of them are trans. So it would be Jacksonville at the bottom. Then it would be Green Bay, right? And then it would be Carolina. Carolina would be the third from the bottom group that I would think would have a trans cheerleader on their squad. First LA. I would say LA, San Francisco. So you'd have the Rams. They would be the first. LA, San Francisco, Vegas. Those three, bottom three, Jacksonville, Green Bay, and Carolina. So, and she's bald. She's bald. She's not going to wear a wig. She's bald. She's Carolina Panthers. They hired a bald transgender cheerleader. Hey, hold on, wait. Let me think this through. Am I for cheerleading? On one hand, I don't get it. They exist only to entice me as a heterosexual man. So then the question becomes, do I have a problem with being enticed? No, I don't know. None at all. 2, do I have a problem with other people having a problem with me being enticed? Yes, I do. Then don't put it out there. Don't put cheerleaders out there. We all know that the intention there is to get men to look at the cheerleaders. Don't put them out there and then get me to do what they want me to do and then tell me that I shouldn't do that. That's my problem. I also don't think they really serve a purpose other than for men to look at and lesbians. Hey, whatever. Lesbians probably like cheerleaders too. They don't serve a purpose other than for us to look at and go, oh, look at that beautiful woman. Look at that beautiful woman. Okay. So, let's move on to the next segment of this little, and I'm thinking this out in real time here. Okay. We're working this through. All right. So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with cheerleaders being around. I don't want to get rid of cheerleaders. They don't have any purpose other than for us to look at, but I'm a heterosexual guy. Okay. So cheerleaders can stay. Now, do I have a problem within that group of cheerleaders one of them not being a woman, but being a trans woman. Well, she's not a woman, huh? I don't know, man. She's a trans woman. Can I make that distinction? Can I be respectful and still call him a trans woman? Because, there is a difference. There's a difference between a natural born woman and a trans woman? Yes. Yes, there is. There is a difference. Is that the wrong answer? Oh, I'm so worried about the world. I am so worried. Actually, I'm more worried about my place in it. But, okay, so do I have a problem with a trans woman being a member of a cheerleading squad in the NFL? No, I don't care. Fun story. It's a fun story. Here's why it's a fun story for me. Oh, because some people are going to have a problem with it. Some people are going, hey man, that ain't against God's law. Those people I'm going to enjoy watching, steam come out of their ears, because that's just entertainment for me. So there you have it. The Top Cats, Carolina cheerleaders. Want to look at her? Let's look at her. Why not? We've spent all this time on it. Let's see here. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Top Cats. Here we go. Top Cats hire first transgender cheerleader. All right. Top Cats. And again, Carolina. What Carolina? That is not, that's not where I think it would be. All right, so here we go. Carolina Panthers hire NFL's first openly transgender cheerleader. All right. Where's it? There she is. Yeah. Yes. That's how she identifies, and that's what she would prefer. Hey, no skin off my back. I have no interest in being a dick. So sure, I'll call her she, because that's what she wants. And I'm not interested, again, in being a dick for my own small-minded, egomaniacal reason. How dare you make me think about oh, shut up and be respectful to another human being. What do you care? If you don't like her existence, then don't be around her. Don't be around her. Plenty of people on this planet whose personal existence I don't like. And guess what? I don't hang out with those people. I don't like those people. Those people are not in my worldview. But I respect that they exist. I just stay away from them. You do the same thing. So there she is. There she is. I don't know. Hey, she's a cheerleader, right? I don't know what to. I got no comments. And that's, I guess, what the other Top Cats look like. Here's what that one looks like. There's the Top Cats. Look at them. They're just dancing. Why are their legs exposed? Why are those uniforms form-fitting and so tight? What's going on there? Is there a reason for that? Is there a reason they're not, like in the 1950s, cheerleader girls wore these nice little skirts that went down to the knees, and then they wore sweaters and they had long sleeves, and now they all look like, well, quite frankly, members of RuPaul's Drag Race. Now that's what all cheerleaders look like now. They dress like, oh, there you go. See? Never mind. Not going to say it. Not going to say it because I struggle with being respectful. Not going to say it. But there you go. That's the new trans Top Cat. It kind of looks like LeVar Burton. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, is that LeVar Burton or is that, I don't know, whatever. All right. Let's be supportive. There we go. There we go. All right. What else do we got here? Oh, okay. Here you go. Here's a sad one. Here's a sad one. We've got another death. We've got a hitmaker death. Texan. Yeah, Texan. Singer-songwriter. 80 years old. Died yesterday. The late, great Jim Seals. That's right. Jim Seals died yesterday at the age of 80 years old. 70s hitmaker. Texas native. Of course, a member of Seals and Croft. Seals and Croft. Remember that lame ass Seals and Croft band? They were so lame. Summer breeze makes me feel fine. Diamond girl. Wow, wow. Really, darling, if you want me to be only you. Get closer, wasn't that? Darling, get closer to me. Anyway, Jim Seals, his voice sang of summer breezes and hummingbirds in the 1970s. Jim Seals, one half of the hit-making light rock duo Seals and Crofts, has passed away. Seals, who was born in Sydney, Texas, teamed up with fellow Texan Dash Croft in the 1950s. They moved to California where they wrote songs for other artists before they started having hits of their own, beginning with Summer Breeze Makes Me Feel Fine. They followed that up with Hummingbird, Diamond Girl, We May Never Pass This Way Again. I don't know what song that is. We May Never. I don't know what that is. And Get Closer. Jim Seals was 80 years old. All right. So when I read this earlier today, I was like, oh man, Seals and Croft, dude, he died. I remember him from when I was little. I remember, and then I got a little confused. I'm like, wait, yeah, and they used to sing Diamond Girl, and they had puppets. And then I went, no, that's Sid and Marty Croft. That's different than Seals and Croft. The puppets were the Croft puppets. But it got very complicated because I vividly remember there being some combination of the Croft puppets and Seals and Crofts singing Diamond Girl. I remember that. I remember like some variety, I don't know if it was like the Shields and Yarnell variety show from 1976. I don't know what it was on, but it was something. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So they did have puppets. No, they didn't. I was just sort of combining two things, and maybe they appeared once together. Their songs, very, very nice songs. Seals and Croft. The man has passed. So here's what I will say. Very nice songs, right? Okay. They're very, very nice songs. Summer breeze. However, I do want to point this out. I make no distinction in my mind between Seals and Croft and England Dan and John Ford Coley. I don't know. I thought they were the same thing. You tell me. That's a game. That's a game that I should, not a game that I'll play on the air. It's a game that I'll go in the other room and I'll play. It'll be called, is this an England Dan and John Ford Coley song? Or is this a Seals and Croft song? What are some England Dan and John Ford Coley songs? Because if Summer Breeze makes me, and darling, you want me to be. Okay, so those are Seals and Croft songs. What are some England Dan and John Ford Coley songs? Let's see here. I think Seals and Crofts were bigger, maybe. What do they got? I don't know any of these songs. Hold on, what is this one? Here's an England Dan and John Ford Coley song. Never mind. Oh, never mind. You know what? Look, we're not going to be able to monetize this show anyway. I'm sure I've done something. So if you want to tip and support the show, please do. Take advantage of our options there to tip. Please drop a little something in the bucket. I'd appreciate it. Treat me like your bartender. Treat me like your barista, as I always like to say. Pal, pretend I'm parking the car. We are very low on funds. We didn't make our budget last month, so anything that you can do at this time of need, please do drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App. And to that end, let me see. We're going to not be able to monetize this show in any other means, so we need your help now because I really want to hear some England Dan and John Ford Coley songs. All right, because I don't know the difference between them and Seals and Croft. All right, here we go. Let me see. Okay, so this is not Seals and Croft.
Hello.
Oh, yeah. Same thing, right?
Not much.
How about you? Is there a difference between Seals and Croft
Sure
and these guys?
Let's
see, what is this one? Here's another one.
sad to belong to someone else.
I don't know what that is. That's awful. How about this one?
We'll never have to say goodbye again.
Okay. If you had played just that snippet from this England Dan and John Ford Coley, who is not Jim Seals, who died yesterday from Seals and Croft, if you played that segment, that little snippet from that song, I would be like, oh yeah, that was a theme song from a 70s TV show. Doesn't that sound like a... This sounds like a theme song. That's how generic this stuff is. Not great.
We'll never have to say goodbye again.
All right. No idea what this is. All right.
Name your price.
Pretty voice, I guess, right?
Paradise.
All right, here. All right, so now this is going to be some Seals and Croft. All right, so let's see if there's a difference in sound between them, because I make no distinction. Your face is generic, Byron. Totally the same vibe, genre, right? Like, if you liked Seals and Croft, you would totally be cool with them touring with England Dan and John Ford Coley.
Little light is shining through the window, lets me know everything's alright.
Ah,
Summer breeze makes me feel fine.
all right.
Darling, if you want me to be
All right, so
closer to
just in my
you.
quick little run through of these two bands, England Dan and John Ford Coley versus Seals and Croft, I think Seals and Croft had more hits. Yeah. All right, there you go. Jim Seals died yesterday at the age of 80. And besides, Seals and Croft were from Texas. So there you go. We'll give them the Vic on that. All right, thank you. Let's see, what else do we have here? Well, look at us. Look at me giving you bonus show today. Let's see here. What else? There's a story about a sloth bear. Okay, so a sloth bear in India, and people just filmed it. People just saw it happening and filmed it. I don't know, maybe like 10 of like the 30 people who stood around filming it could have ran at the sloth bear all at once, and the sloth bear may have ran away, but they didn't. A sloth bear ate 2 people in a field in India. Just chased. Here's the crazy part. These people were coming back from temple where they were praying to God. They were doing that. They're very religious people, and they were praying to God. And as they were leaving the temple, a sloth bear basically hunted them both down, chased them in the field, caught them both, and then ate them both, and just fed on these people for like a half hour, while a whole bunch of other people just filmed it. Just were like, hey, look at that. Sloth bears. There you go. Sitcom dads. Sitcom dads is trending. All right, so I'm going to pull this one up so we can take a look at this, because this is going to be us. We're going to have to look at this. We're going to have to figure this one out. I've already made my choices, but I figure why not allow you guys to make your choices as well. So this is one of those Twitter things that is going around, and a number of these people are individually trending. Like Tim Taylor is trending, Al Bundy is trending. All these things are trending, but they're all associated with the same meme, I guess, that is asking for you to, who are the 2 best sitcom dads? Okay, right? So we're looking at this. All right, here we go. So the question is, who are, of this group, who are the 2 best sitcom dads? All right, so let me share my takes on it, okay? First of all, Tim Taylor. Nah, he did. Nah. I mean, not Tim Taylor. Danny Tanner from Full House. All right, let's put him off to the side. Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Here's the problem. I didn't watch Family Matters because that show was on at a time when I was in my early 20s and late teens, and I believe it was on Friday nights, and I didn't watch TV on Friday nights at that point. So I completely missed the entire Urkel, revolution or whatever it is. But with that said, he's a cop. I know a lot of kids who had cops for dads. All right, just shut up. Don't go any further. All right, so he's not in it. We've got Danny Tanner. We've put Danny Tanner aside. Philip Banks from Fresh Prince. He was Uncle Phil. He's not even a dad. Oh, you saying that someone can't step you? You have to be biologically. Well, no, I'm not saying that because I do know that there are a lot of wonderful stepfathers out there and a lot of uncles who have stepped up and even some grandfathers who have stepped up to be, the father role. But yeah, okay. So Phil here doesn't make it. Dan Connor. All right, let's put Dan Connor aside too. Al Bundy. Are you kidding me? Al Bundy was a terrible father. Did you see his daughter? You want to talk about daddy issues? That girl wanted a little bit of attention from Al Bundy, and he gave her nothing, and he produced that Kelly Bundy character from hell. Al Bundy's, okay, Tim Taylor, no. Carl Winslow, Uncle Phil, no, not a real dad. Al Bundy, are you kidding me? All right, so the two best dads in this group are, without a doubt, Danny Tanner from Full House and the best, and it's not even close, Dan Connor from Roseanne. Dan Connor. This isn't even close. I mean, if we had to rank these, it would be Dan Connor 1, Danny Taylor 2, Uncle Phil, because he had money, I guess, and he stepped up, so we'll give him credit. Uncle Phil 3, and I don't know Carl. I don't know but again, he's a cop, and cops come home and they're in bad moods. Tim Taylor would be 4. We'll give the cop 5, and Al Bundy, without a doubt, is the 6th. Al Bundy is the worst father in this group. He doesn't even belong in there. So for my money, it's going to be Dan Connor and Danny Taylor. Al Bundy is trending. Al Bundy is trending because people are like, "Oh, Al Bundy was." Ross says Uncle Phil was a dad, just not Will's dad. Yeah, but I think in the dynamic he's talking to Will there, right? So I know what you're saying. Uncle Phil was cool, man. Uncle Phil, nothing wrong with Uncle Phil. I like Uncle Phil. He's cool. But he ain't, come on. Uncle Phil is a better dad than Dan Connor. Dan Connor from Roseanne was awesome. He loved his kids. He was funny. He worked his ass. He worked himself into an early grave. Wait, did he? Did Dan Connor die? He did, right? Man, I don't even know. Dan Connor wasn't great. That family had major issues. Yeah, they had major issues that face every middle-class, blue-collar family in America. Ross Rubio, not some rich judge in Beverly Hills. Dan Connor was awesome. And Danny Tanner was awesome too. Danny Tanner was loving and kind and funny, and he loved his girls. He was awesome. But no, Dan Connor is by far the best dad in this list. Al Bundy, can we at least agree that Al Bundy is the worst dad in this list? Al Bundy didn't give a shit about his kids. Al Bundy hated his kids. Oh, Adam, he died. Dan Connor died. That is such a bummer. All right, well, there you go. That's going to be it for today's show. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Come back later for Pillow Talk with me and Parker. That's going to come on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to get rid of this. We'll get rid of this now. There we go. All right. So we do the show every Monday through Friday. We run through all the topics of the day, all the things that are trending, anything that people are talking about. Let me do one quick little. Let me see. We'll jump on Twitter again because it's Matthew McConaughey is now trending. Oh, sure. And look, there's all kinds of video now. Now, 10 minutes ago, I couldn't get the damn thing to buffer, but now we can watch all. Matthew McConaughey calls for responsible gun ownership at the White House briefing following the Uvalde school shooting. Responsible gun owners are fed up with the Second Amendment being abused and hijacked by some deranged individuals. That's what Matthew McConaughey says. So there you have it. What else is happening here? What else? Anything else new that's trending? Let's give it a look. Prince is trending because it's his birthday, because he's awesome. Kid Rock is trending for the opposite reason. Predator. Oh, apparently there's a new Predator sequel, prequel is now a thing that is coming out. I don't think we need a new Predator, but okay, whatever. I'm sure my 13-year-old kid will drag me to that. Stephen A. Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is still trending. A lot of people are outraged at that NFL list, the official NFL list of the best coaches. Had Cliff Kingsbury on the list, but did not have Mike Tomlin, which, All right. That's going to do it. I've got my poetry. Tip the show if you can, please. The show runs on your generosity. You fell short last month. Hey, how about my allergy medication? Kept me amped up and working the whole show. Appreciate y'all being here. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam, for coming by. April, I love you so much. We'll see. Been missing Will. Where were you, Ben? Will's one of my favorite people in the chat room. He was missing. Things are going good. Okay. That's just me saying nice things to Will. Will says, I was hoping you would correct yourself about the kids' drag show. Good luck on your show, man. Can't believe you defended it. You're either sick or misinformed. I assume it's the latter. Hey, guys, did I defend the kids' drag show, or did I just say that I don't give a shit? I don't think that I'm in any place, or anybody else should be in any place, to tell parents what to do. All right, well, you know what? Kiss my ass, asshole. That's like a really weird interpretation by some fucking strange dude. Go to hell, Will. You're banned. Let's get rid of him then. I don't care about that dude. Here I was saying nice things about him. Here I was saying, I missed him. No, you know what? I'm not going to ban him. I don't do that. Because America. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Kenny. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I'm looking back at some of the chat stuff to see if there's anything that I need to respond to. I have got an old guitar. That is all I need. All right, that's it. We're good. All right, I love you folks. Be good to one another. Be decent. Don't be like Will. Have fun. Bye. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.